Rated T, Sierra Entertainment proudly presents Empire Earth 3, Charge Through the Ages. Command your empire. Conquer the Earth. Visit EmpireEarth.com. Empire Earth 3, available now for the PC.
All right, everybody, thanks for your patience and waiting out an extra week. This is the One Up Your Show, first show for 2008, so let's kick it off the right way. 2008 confirmed.
Woo. Etc.
That's even better than the weekend. You got a whole year confirmed now, so you can start the calendars, you can get it rolling. That's Mr. Simon Cox, one of two special guests from across the pond. Across the pond.
Was that some kind of accent?
Across the pond.
It was, wasn't it?
That's the best I can do. I can't really do.
Pathetic.
Christ. The best you can do.
It's pathetic. It's awful. Are you going to give me a hard time, John? This is the first time you've been on in like 4 weeks.
Ever.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
You've been counting the days, Garnet?
I have. I've been counting the hours.
I didn't believe it when he said you were going to be on.
I know. It was awesome. He's like, oh,
Like John Davison? All right, wow.
So there you go. It's Garnet Lee, John Davison, Simon Cox, Shane Bettenhausen. One up yours for 2008. Let's get the show rolling. I'm going to start off real quickly with some thank yous. First of all, I was amazed. No, I guess I shouldn't be amazed, but it was really nice. Everyone who had, get well soon wishes for me, like everywhere I turned.
I was pissed.
Why?
I thought you were going to do the show. I was very disappointed.
Dude, I was absolutely miserable. So it was really nice. It's really, really, really nice to see all the nice thoughts everyone said, whether it was on on our boards or a GAF forum or
You do sound better now. So.
or Facebook. Man, I still feel bad, but I feel so much better than I felt then.
Your 20 million Facebook friends all wished you.
Hey, you know what? It's cool. Why am I going to turn them away?
You just can't say no, can you?
He can't say no. Garnet's
No.
friends with all sorts of people he's never met in his entire life.
Hey, they listen to the. You know what? They listen to the show. They hear me every week. It's cool. I think it's kind of cool.
He has a lot of fans. What can you say?
I don't really have a lot of fans anyway. And the other person I want to say thank you to is something that was pointed out to me today, by Andrew, which is that David Jaffe, on the front page of his blog, on the front page of his
blog,
on the front page of his blog has a permanent link to One Up Yours,
Well,
the little symbol for One Up Yours, and says that it's a great podcast. So
Well, David, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on.
absolutely, would love to have you
Yeah.
on. And thank you very much for listening. And
We even talk about Twisted Metal for PS2. We'll talk about it on the show for real.
And the checks in the post.
Yeah.
Thanks.
all right. So
I want to thank Anthony from My Cheats who gave me this awesome bottle of moonshine from his
I have
dad.
to tell you this crazy. So he has I was going to say a bell jar, but apparently it's a cur jar. It's not even an official bell jar.
Right.
It's like a knockoff, and it has this. I printed this on my laser printer decal on it that says "A effing crazy Mexican moonshine," and he's drinking this stuff that looks about like unleaded gasoline.
Or cranberry juice.
Well,
one or the other.
It smells like gasoline.
Smells like gasoline.
smells
It looks like
sort
cranberry
of-
juice.
Yeah, vinegar and gasoline mixed together.
pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
don't light a match in here. On the other hand, I'm drinking my very nice Christmas present from Simon, which is the Yamazaki single malt aged 12 years whiskey with a Y.
Yeah,
and no
so
E.
it's my fault, isn't it? I'm an enabler, aren't I?
You are an enabler.
I am.
It's
Shit.
an excellent job.
Apologizing in
Yeah, I'm
advance.
apologizing in advance for buying you that.
Whatever. It's been aged 12 years. It's much higher than my maturity level, right? Anyway, so the show today is going to be real simple. We're going to go back we're going to do what you've been playing because, of course, we've been playing a lot of games. Then we're going to revisit quickly the 07 predictions that we did on the December 22nd show of 2006, which had a very interesting cast.
Yeah, it's not going to go well.
It's going to go. You know what? Actually, it goes. Here's a surprise. It goes worst of all for me, but
Oh, that's good to hear.
big shock. And then we're going to do some predictions for 08 and big games for 08 and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to kick off with John on what you've been playing because he's been playing a lot of stuff since the last time we talked to him.
Jesus.
Hit the high points.
Do you actually work?
No, I just sit around,
Sit
play
around now.
games with my kids.
Yeah.
Mario is the crazy thing at home right now.
Yeah.
Every time possible, my kids want
Do
to play
you
Galaxy.
play co-star mode with them?
Yes.
Who does what? Do you?
So
control
I control Mario,
And they do the other
and my
thing.
oldest son collects the star bits for
Don't
me.
you find that it's really fun? I really enjoy co-star mode. Like no one else around here even tried it. Whenever I talk about
First
it,
time he tried it, he told me it was boring, which is a shock from a 4-year-old.
right?
And then the second, his little brother wanted to watch it, and they've started obsessing on everything to do with Mario. So Will got a teddy bear for Christmas, which he christened Bowser. And since playing Mario, they now play with toys on vertical surfaces and upside down. Toys don't fall off things anymore. They run around and go underneath them.
Mario Galaxy has reshaped their idea of gravity.
He has, yeah.
Wow.
So
that's scary.
That's how it's affected their play, and no doubt we'll start seeing the Galaxy knockoffs appearing by the summer, where everyone starts doing levels that are just upside down because they don't quite get it.
Eating mushrooms. You might
they'll be mushroomy. So we've been playing that. I played the Burnout Paradise demo a lot.
Yeah, which
you weren't around for us loving
360.
You weren't around for us loving Burnout Paradise and hating the haters who hated the demo.
They hated the demo?
A lot of people hated
it.
it.
Man,
Didn't you see Alex Ward on like Christmas Eve posted this like scathing attack of all the haters, and he's like, if you don't like, did you see this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and Alex Ward, head of Criterion, like people were so upset about the demo on message boards that he had to come to its defense.
Well, let's put it this way.
What were they upset about?
What's the hate?
The unguidedness of it. Steven Totillo and I had this argument, or had this discussion. He and I brought his. The way we talked about it was I brought his argument to the table because he aimed me about it. That it's not like the other Burnout games. It doesn't have circuit races. It's not a directed experience.
It's Crackdown with cars.
And he doesn't like that. And the people who are detractors from it don't like that because they're saying that they don't go into Burnout for that sort of experience.
Right.
They go into it to have a guided.
Well, they want another fucking racing game on a next-gen console.
Well, and what we said and what Alex said is basically like you can't find these faults until you've actually played the real game and seen what it has to offer, because the demo doesn't offer you 120 different challenges from the outset.
I'm sorry, Alex. Alex is awesome, but I have to say I played the demo. And I did kind of run out of steam fairly quickly on it. Well, mind you, I played the full game at an early stage, and so I knew all the great things that were in it, which were not in the demo.
Right.
And it was a very limited demo as well in terms of...
That's kind of the problem.
You're saying to me, I'm free to drive anywhere,
but
then you give me a really small area to drive in, really. It seemed to me like a small area. I covered it so quickly, and I was like...
It is. It's a tiny chunk of the whole
tiny
thing.
chunk,
Yeah.
and I get why they did it. I just don't think it was the smartest move in terms of...
the other thing that you don't get is the density of what you can do in the game versus the size of it. For instance, in the demo, here's what I'm saying. In the demo, you have a number of intersections, but only 3 events that you can do. In the final game, every single intersection starts an event.
Right.
So you're not wandering around the city looking for things to do. Any time that you cross 2 streets, you have something to do
and
right
people
there.
are really up in arms about the lack of a retry function. When you fail an event, you can't automatically retry it. And like I was at first a little peeved by that, but there's so many options and there's always something else to do to where I quickly stopped caring about that when I was playing the game.
Well, and I think part of the idea behind, and I'm not going to, Alex, if I'm wrong, come correct me, but I think part of the idea behind that was to try and help you keep from taking this game too seriously. Don't get caught up in sitting there and punching retry 50 billion times trying to get through something. If you go through a race, you don't make it, just start another race or whatever from wherever you finish.
Yeah, who cares? There's loads more.
Exactly. Just have a good damn time with it. Go on and drive, and when you get back around to where that one's...
in, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
22nd, yeah?
So, I got a question, because you played 360. What did you think of the performance on 360?
It was all right, but I think the PS3 one is going to be the one to get.
I think so too. I still think so. And David Ellis, who was on the show when we had
the Final Before Christmas show.
Right, we had the Final Before Christmas show. I was going to say, when we talked about Burnout, he said, hey, I've been playing the final review builds, and it works okay on 360, but man, that sure makes me nervous when I play that demo, and it's just not, it doesn't have that fluidity. Anyway.
Uncharted as well. I started that.
I
did a lot of trying to catch up on things.
I still haven't finished. Like everyone else is finishing that. Like I gotta finish that game.
But I'm determined to beat. I've been playing Mario every time. Every time I have any free time, it's been Galaxy, and I've sort of got into just exploring a lot in Galaxy, which is slowing me down as well.
But that's what that's fun.
Yeah,
that's the fun of it, right?
I mean, I have 20-something.
I believe you haven't actually played that game.
I have not played Mario.
Yeah,
you should.
You should. I
think I have no argument there. I want to play it.
My favorite game of last year, I think.
Yeah, over Christmas, I walked into a store and purchased Mario Galaxy for $49.99. And like, very rarely do I have to go to a store and buy a game. And I was like, I have to go buy this game, even though I've beaten it. I
just wanted to play it more.
I play more.
Look, I cannot argue that. I've seen people playing it. I've tinkered around with it, I have no doubt that I'm going to enjoy playing it. It's not a question. It's just a matter of I haven't gotten to it. I did finish 2 games over the holiday break. Finished Uncharted and I finished Mass Effect.
So Uncharted's, you've been playing it as well, right?
I finished Uncharted as well over the break.
Holy crap! You finished a game.
It's good, right?
I did, yeah.
Like when I came up with it over
gold star.
Fuck you.
Gold star.
Do you guys agree that Uncharted is like among the most accurately rated games in recent history? Like having played, I've played more than half.
Why are you harping on that? Who gives
I
a
don't know.
fuck whether it was
It's
rated
just
right or
weird.
not?
One of the most accurately
It's
rated.
so accurately rated. Everyone argues like overrated, underrated for all these games this
Do
year.
we give it 8s and 8.5s?
Everybody gave it 8s and 8.5s. That's what it is.
I think it's an 8.5.
Yeah, that's what everybody gave it.
I like 8.5.
I think it's an 8.
It's better than an 8.
I think it's an
8.56793.
With a modifier maybe plus or minus
I've only
variance
played
of
like an
0.07.
hour of it. Is it? I mean, does it? To me, it looks like this is what Tomb Raider should have turned into.
That's exactly right, and it's also what Indiana Jones games.
Oh
should
no!
have turned into in some ways.
Wait! Now I'm a big defender of Lara. Why is it what Tomb Raider should have turned into?
The combat system for a start.
Combat system, a sort of more credible setup.
Oh, the animation, the voice acting, the
storytelling,
everything.
A more credible sort of modern day explorer. Because with Lara, they could never decide if she was a superhero or not.
Right. Okay.
Well, and
I'll give you that.
her whole back history is just so convoluted and silly, and like there's nothing silly about Uncharted. Whereas like Tomb Raider, a little bit silly.
Mm-hmm. See, I kind of think that part of the appeal of Tomb Raider is that it is a little bit silly. I mean, it's a little bit fanciful. It's okay. It's an imaginary character anyway. Why not let you have like a little flight of fancy there?
I think they're confused as to what Lara
I'm
is.
hoping Uncharted doesn't have any dinosaurs
in
in it. Tell me it doesn't have dinosaurs in it.
It doesn't have dinosaurs.
Excellent.
Well,
it has something. It
Yeah.
has something supernatural in it that's sort of weird.
But fits very well. No, I thought it fit very well. I really liked that.
I actually found that a bit incongruous.
I thought it was at first, but after playing
first,
and then as it kind of tied all together, I thought, you know what? Actually, that really brings home the whole
So,
idea of it.
my least favorite, going from gritty and realistic to ridiculously supernatural game of all time was True Crime.
where you're fighting dragons.
Where you've been fighting in LA, and then in the last hour of the game, you're fighting a dragon in hell.
Yeah.
Underneath a Chinese restaurant.
It doesn't.
Is it that bad?
No.
Okay.
Awesome.
Negative.
No, it's not that bad
Negative.
at all. It does make some sort of weird sense, but it is definitely a little bit incongruous. And I think one of the problems with it, what you'll find is that the first sort of 5 or 6 hours of Uncharted are unbelievably good. I mean, they really are. And then it does, I think, kind of plateau a little bit when it relies more on shooting, which you'll find at a certain point towards the end it starts to rely on shooting a lot.
Yeah.
And some of that gets pretty frustrating, and you have to kind of keep doing restarts and things. So it's a bit tough.
And I've had this discussion with people. I was actually able to stick to the whole cover and shoot system all the way through to the end, except for a couple of spots that are set up for you not to be able to do them.
And you know the one I'm talking about when I say there's one really annoying bit where you have to just run around in circles like for 20 minutes.
I could have done without the holes in the floor.
Yeah, me too.
I could have done without the holes in the floor.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, anyway, I really liked it. My fault with the ending. My fault.
John, you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, do you? But don't worry, you'll get to the holes in the floor eventually.
Well, and I like.
You'll be like, as soon as he falls through, I'll be like, oh, those fucking holes.
I'm curious. Do you guys like the jet ski? I like the jet ski.
Oh,
everyone else I talk to hates the jet ski.
Are you kidding me? I thought the jet ski was
I liked it.
fantastic.
The first or second?
Yes,
I think they're both fun.
I thought the water effects in the second jet ski part were amazing. Where you're going up against the tide.
But
you're fighting this jet ski up a river rapid, and that's fantastic.
In terms of like
incredible, yeah,
the perfection.
incredible.
I mean, it is kind of like you have to do these things perfectly.
I didn't like the first bit on the jet ski actually. I preferred the Jeep. That was awesome.
The problem that I had with it was that when you actually have to do the shooting, which becomes a big part of it, you have to choose between moving and shooting and aiming,
right?
Which kind of breaks the whole thing.
Right, and what's wrong with her? Shouldn't she be like? I mean, she's helping you out.
You need some co-op. Uncharted 2 co-op.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
The girl doesn't help you.
No, she's lazy bitch.
She's window dressing more or less.
She's in it for herself. She is.
She's asleep.
I think, if anything, that the end of that, ironically, we've talked about boss battles before many times on this show, and I think that the ending of that game is one of the better arguments for groups that, or maybe design teams that aren't boss battle oriented, and games that aren't boss battle oriented, not including a boss arbitrarily at the end of a game.
I liked it for that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
There wasn't much of that.
Wait, there isn't a boss, right?
There isn't really a boss.
That's what I heard.
Not
I haven't
really. It's
What do you call that? I have to follow this pattern to beat this thing.
It's a half.
It's a challenge.
It's a half a boss, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It was extremely half
It's a
of
sneaky
a boss.
version of a boss. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. It's a bossette.
Now we
right?
spoiled it all for John.
I would rather have just gotten to the final cutscene, which was cool, and the cutscenes are really
So
good.
what else has John been playing?
That's it for the most part. I mean, a lot of Mario and Madden on Wii, which I think I talked about last time.
Yeah, you're still into that.
Well, yeah. Not. I mean, I'm getting a little tired of it, to be honest.
Hey, you're looking forward to the next EA Sports game that has family play?
Yeah, frankly, yeah. I've
Something-
been trying to move him onto NBA Live.
John, if you were only around the office tomorrow, I believe we're winning 11 tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Not for Wii, but
No.
you know.
I've been playing a lot of Wii stuff, actually.
That's
Very little 360 stuff for the last month or two.
What else we? Anything that nothing pops out, just stuff at home.
No, not really.
Do you
whatever.
play?
I mean,
play?
Yeah, I mean, anything that can be played in. I mean, we had a lot of people over the holiday, so Wii stuff came out. Oh, and Rock Band, of course. Yeah, not Wii, but collaborative. A lot of collaborative Rock Band.
So Rock Band, Guitar Hero, Rock Band.
Rock Band.
I'm going to tell my a little truncated version of my Rock Band story when it gets to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
why Rock Band over Guitar Hero?
Because the boss battles in Guitar Hero can fucking bite me.
It's very easy to get past.
No, I just every time it got to that, my heart sank.
Yeah.
Every time. I mean, the Tom Morello one, like I was like, okay, and then it was just this typically bullshit atonal Tom Morello thing. So it was impossible to follow along because it didn't sound like anything. And then the Slash one was just kind of hard. And then it was like, I can't be bothered. What I like about Rock Band is you're playing through the songs the way you used to play through the Guitar Hero songs. You're playing the game to play the music. And I think Guitar Hero, they tried to turn it into too much of a video game.
Sure.
And it kind of spoilt it for me.
I tell you what, watching the downloadable content parade from Rock Band, they're like a big steamroller just rolling down the
Garnet,
freeway.
we're eventually going to wear you down and make you admit that you don't really think Guitar Hero 3 is better than Rock Band. One of these days.
For what I like, I still play Guitar Hero 3 because I like the guitar charts and I like playing the guitar parts.
It's nice to like things, but at the end of the day, you have to choose which one is better.
Guitar Hero is still better for me.
Harmonix has completely obliterated Guitar Hero in my estimation.
I mean, just for me, since we got Rock Band in the house, I've not wanted to put Guitar Hero.
Right. Well, and since
But are you playing single or are you playing with other people there?
In which one? Both?
In Rock Band.
Both. Playing on my own.
Is Rock Band as fun as single player? No, it isn't. But that's not not what's good about it. You know, like it's fine as a single player experience. You can learn all four of the four stations, whatever. Mm-hmm. But since I got back, talked to another friend, and at their office, it's not a game thing. They have a Rock Band set up. People are coming in early, at like 10 in the morning, to play Rock Band. And then yesterday on Conan O'Brien's first show back, I don't know if anybody watched it here. Like they showed what he's been doing around the office in the 2 months since the strike, playing Rock Band. He goes in there where everyone's playing Rock Band, and Conan has his own real guitar with the amp strapped to his back, and he's playing along, like getting in the way of the people playing Rock Band, like playing the songs. He sings Beastie Boys' "Sabotage" as the wife from Archie Bunker. Like it's like 10 minutes of Conan O'Brien playing Rock Band on national TV.
All right,
that's what they've been doing.
We've fought about this a bunch of times. Why does it have to be one or the other? I think they're both cool games. I just think they have different places for me.
I would tell you what, though, I was shocked at how much both of them sold.
Well,
for games that were, $100 or more.
Yeah.
I mean, millions of Guitar Hero.
Well, yeah, and being home, being at this, I went, shopping the day after Christmas. I went and saw like tons of people buying Guitar Hero, people buying Rock Band, people talking about them in stores. I think it really has changed, like the mainstream casual approach to gaming. A lot of people are playing games who never played them before because of these games.
Yeah, I know people that were buying systems and Rock Band.
Yeah,
as their first game.
Absolutely buy that.
And just to see like the stunning debut of Rock Band and how far it's come in one release.
350,000 units of a $170 game is pretty impressive.
It's not bad.
It's very impressive.
It is becoming like a cultural thing too, in the way Guitar Hero did. But I think this is the next step. And
it's a great game. It was executed very well. It was executed by a very experienced partner in Harmonix who knew how to build that kind of game and had obviously thought out how to do this. Yeah. They did it right. The downloadable content partnership with MTV is fantastic. It has all those things in its favor. I'm not arguing any of that.
Right.
What else did you play?
Well, we skipped Simon.
Well, we'll go to you, and then we'll come back to Simon.
Okay, well...
Brit Yank.
I've also been playing Patapon, as John...
I don't like the sound of that.
As John has. I started playing Wipeout Pulse, the new PSP Wipeout, which is beautiful, and I love Wipeout, and It seems better than Pure,
Really?
I mean, Pure was a launch title, so it's come a long way. The graphics look really great. It has infrastructure play, which I know Ryan's been playing against people in Europe because it's already out in Europe. He's a Wipeout nut. And yeah, if you like Wipeout, it appears to be exactly what you want out of the new Wipeout.
And for me, Wipeout's all about the handling. It's all about
it
still has it.
Plays great, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and it's great.
Cool.
And that's Devil May Cry 4. I'm pretty deep into it. I can't really say anything else. Just
when does that ship?
February 8th.
Wow, that's not.
When can you talk about it?
I don't know.
February 8th.
I've already,
you've been not talking about it for a while.
I've already talked some about it. I guess people. I talked about the install a while ago, and people were saying that I said there was a video that plays during it. No, it just shows you cut still images and text of while you're installing Devil May Cry 4 for, in my copy, 30-40 minutes, and then they're saying now it's going to be 25 minutes in the final version, whatever. You get a recap of what happened in the previous 3 games. In case
25 minutes.
But it's worth it because that install means no loading for the rest of the game.
Go make yourself a sandwich, come back.
Yeah.
It's like when we used to have Commodore 64s and stuff and you were loading it off tape.
Apart from you go away and you come back and it still hadn't loaded.
Well,
it crashed.
You don't have to switch any diskettes at least.
Right.
That's good.
You got to type in bload.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, you remember those days?
And the picture would start to build up out of lines, and then it would stop and choke, and you'd have to rewind the tape and start again.
Yeah, it could take days to get a game to work.
And then it was shit.
And then it was crap. Crushingly disappointing in the end. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, that it?
That's it for me.
Wow, that was
a lot of Rock Band. Lot of Rock Band.
I think that, I mean, the fact that none of us are spouting off tons and tons of games is a pretty good indication of how good a lot of the stuff was this holiday.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
We all picked 1 or 2 games and stuck with them rather than we could have all come back and said, I played, an hour of everything that I missed, and we didn't do that.
That's a good point. And that was something that that was actually one of the predictions that we sort of got right talking about 07 would be that there would be a fantastic number of AAA titles that we'd really enjoy. Simon? Have you
well, like I said, I finished Uncharted, which
that's impressive. He plays through a game.
That's pretty much it. And I started back in on Call of Duty 4, which I had left for a while I was playing Uncharted, and my fucking 360 did it to me again. It lost my save files.
Whoa!
And it took me back to 3 levels before. And it's the level with the war pig where you're defending the tank
stuck in the bog. Yeah,
I fucking hated that level. That really was tedious, and I just couldn't face it. I was like, I'm not going through all this again. I'm not going through 3 levels again. And I was really pissed off. That's the second time. It did it in Bioshock to me as well. I played 3 or 4 hours of Bioshock, and it just lost my saves, and I never went back to it. I was like, I just can't face going through.
I feel violated if my save gets deleted. I'm violated. Can't go back.
I don't know what the deal is, but with
that's it. Fuck you. Not playing you anymore.
I'm violated.
I am.
All right. Well,
I thought of another game I've been playing.
Yes?
Actually. I just started playing it today, and I can't believe I didn't mention it. We got the final Japanese version of Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, and I played that one level. You weren't there, were you? Well, we played through one level back at TGS. So
I played that.
So I played through the first 2 chapters, which neither of them were that level we played. And the gameplay, it's so smooth and it's such a real game. The whole time I was playing this game on DS, it was weird because I can't feel like I've played an actual action game where you're using the stylus that has some 3D graphics, and you feel like you're doing skillful things and fighting bosses. It was like playing a console game. I was very perplexed. I was like, I can't believe I'm playing this on DS.
What's the difficulty like?
So there's 2 difficulty settings. One's normal. One's called Lead Head Ninja. So I was playing normal, and it's kind of easy.
Yeah.
So kind of easy.
So it's not like the console versions where it's just sort of.
I think if you play on the harder difficulty, it is like that. But because intrinsically it's a little imprecise what you're doing. I mean, you have diagonal slashes, vertical slashes, horizontal slashes, but you're kind of just scribbling around a little bit on enemies because it makes cool combos happen. It's really easy. It's easy to keep your combo meter up because you can also throw a shuriken into people just by tapping on them to combo, and you can double jump and down slash and magic but it all just kind of happens really easily and naturally and fluidly. The gameplay is way more fluid than you're going to think with the stylus. And I played through 2 whole levels, fought some bosses. I haven't played a game like this on DS ever. Wow. As I said, it feels kind of like a console game, which is not something you usually say while you're playing a DS game. Maybe it feels like a good Super Nintendo game from 15 years ago, but this kind of feels like a console game from now.
Wow.
So I'm impressed. Very
nice.
Very impressive.
I like the idea, and this is what I liked from TGS, that when you're using the stylus on it, you do actually feel like you're doing something with some degree of skill.
Yeah, more than you think.
Yeah, more than you thought. Like it's enough to get you into it, and it's cool. I like that part.
Scribbling isn't the new mashing.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It's more precise. It's like less precise yet more precise than you expect.
What?
You'll have to play it. All right, that's it for me.
I forgot something as well.
Okay.
I can't believe I forgot it. And it's kind of telling that I forgot it. I played Mass Effect.
Did you solve it?
No. I got bored.
Did you get stuck in an elevator?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did. I got bored.
How far did you give it before you got bored?
Well,
first of all, what was your expectation going into it? Because I think that's a big telling part of what you get out of Mass
my
Effect.
expectation was that it would be a more fluid and fun and progressive version of KOTOR. So I kind of expected quite a bit of it, I suppose. And what I got was basically KOTOR again, but with a different combat system. And the combat system...
And an original story.
You know what? I think, well, original in quotes, obviously. I mean, it looked like it was a well thought out story, obviously quite deep and all of that, but not necessarily something that I wouldn't see on TV on not at all. On just a sort of a
Sci-Fi Channel.
Sci-Fi Channel kind of movie or something like that, or series. But which is what they were going for, I'm sure. So that's fine. I totally get it.
The ending is phenomenal.
The beginning is awful. I mean, the first fight on the planet, I was kind of like, okay, the combat's a bit kind of wonky, whatever. It's kind of a bit annoying. You get through that, and then I'm sort of on the sort of the space station thing, the sort of the hub, and that's where it kind of really slowed down, and I found the pacing just sort of got really bad, and I sort of went into that mode where I was sort of wandering around talking to what looked like shop dummies sitting around the place, and they wouldn't respond to me, most of them, and then I wondered when I did talk to people where all that stuff had gone about the looking at their eyes and the way their eyes were moving and their face was moving, all that stuff that was going to be really cool,
all the
and
big promises.
Yeah, and the dialogue trees I thought were actually kind of shallow, and I didn't really feel like there was really that much special going on there either. I had
cut him off now.
I'm sorry. I had high expectations, and I think they were too high. Yeah, my expectations were too high. I think if I'd gone in with sort of different, not necessarily too high, they were just different expectations, I think I might have been better off. But I'm a sci-fi fan, and I'm really into design. So there was some of the stuff in there that I really liked. I thought from a design perspective. Some of the character designs and stuff like that I thought were great. But then that was mixed in with this really generic Sci-Fi Channel sci-fi stuff that was sort of just disposable to me. It was just not memorable at all, with very little character. And so I was kind of torn like the whole time, between... I mean,
Simon isn't the first person to come on the show and say things like this.
No, I know.
I know, I'm sorry. and I do get that people have said to me, you have to give it time.
Which is kind of a bullshit argument in the first place, because you shouldn't have to give it time.
That's my point, is that someone gave me a book and said, it's 600 pages and the first 200 are boring, right. But hang in there. I'd be like, how many lives do you have to live?
But it is weird because this is a short RPG by traditional standards.
Oh my god! If you just followed the storyline, now that I finished, if you just followed the storyline, it's very short.
But then people are like, "Oh, you have to give it a shot." But like old RPGs were like 80 hours long.
Yeah, having finished it now, my complaints would be, I do see where you're coming from, and I think
I'm not trashing it. I'm just saying it. Just for me, it was I got bored, and I think it was partly my own fault, to be honest. I mean, I just wasn't.
No, I don't think it's your fault at all. You're the one playing it. How's it your fault for?
I'm not a big RPG person. I'm not someone who necessarily gets into the details of all of that stuff, and I was expecting to play it in a very fluid manner, in a very simple manner, and I got the difficulty setting wrong. I think I took sort of the medium or regular rather than the easy, which has been advised. I've been advised that the combat I should do easy because the combat works better and it's not so annoying.
Regardless, the whole fluid argument is one of the big stumbling blocks for the game, because if you allow the game to be fluid, then you're just going to follow the central storyline. If you just follow the central storyline, you're going to race through the game in almost no time at all. But I think I finished with 20. Here's my problem: is I was going
along.
Actually,
no, it would be. Actually, I'm sorry, it would be 20 hours for me, because that's the other problem, is that I'm actually an explorer type gamer. So I'm the guy who kind of goes, oh, what's in here? And I wander around and I try and check things out. So that's why I think maybe I made it boring for myself, because there isn't really a lot to do that's that interesting.
Right, and the side quests just aren't that interesting.
They're kind of rubbish.
I was doing 3 or so of them between every mission, and I thought, oh, this will be fine. By the end of the game, I'll have it all wound up. And no, I get to the end of the game, and I've still got a laundry list of stuff I could have gone and done. I'm like, I'm not really going to go back and do that stuff. No, thanks.
The thing that disappointed me at the end of the game was that I was expecting it to do what Oblivion does, which is when you beat the narrative, the world is still there.
Opens up to you. You can go,
and it's just like, okay, now go do everything, sort of in the same timeline, essentially.
Absolutely.
When Mass Effect ends, it ends, and the only thing that carries over is that whatever you've leveled up to, it'll take that level back to the beginning, but it's pushed reset on everything except you.
Wow.
So you level, in sort of like a pretty rushed playthrough, you can get to about a level 35, 40 character, and it goes to like 60, I think. So all that happens is you start again, and you're all like tricked out, and you've got all the...
I was absolutely expecting the same thing. I was expecting that after all of this, then I'll be walking out onto the Citadel, and I'll be able to go and do whatever I wanted to. And no, sorry. So I thought that was disappointing too. Anyway, not nearly as disappointing as Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
I went and bought that game so that I could play it.
I still want to play that game. I do.
Don't. No, Simon, don't.
No, I want to.
Simon,
I'm going to.
Look,
I put it in for 20 minutes. I thought it was kind of fun.
You know how sometimes there's like that deal where someone hands you that spoiled container of milk and asks your opinion? The right answer is, no, I trust your opinion. It's spoiled. Throw it away.
But that's not the general.
There are
plenty of opinions that say
if you were to typify the general opinion of whether Assassin's Creed was spoiled or not, it would be that it isn't.
It falls far shy of living up to what it intended to be. So far shy.
Okay, but don't review it against what you thought it was supposed to be.
No. I'm not
saying about what it was.
You didn't hold Mass Effect to that same standard.
He would have been going in with expectations that were quite lowered, wouldn't you? Because
all the hoopla.
Of the poopla.
How about a simple expectation of giving a shit about the characters, which I don't, because they never build any connection. Okay, so spoiler alert, as we knew from the very beginning, there's one character in modern day that's actually, you're living through the experiences of the one in the
virtual
Crusades.
Dude, right.
So first of all, you don't give a rat's ass about the guy that's being taken advantage of. You could care less about him. They never built
the concept and setup and execution is clever.
It's pointless.
But it's clever.
It's pointless. There is no reason to have that there. It would have been a 10 times better game if they had just made me be Altair in the first place. Yes.
See, I think the setup actually makes it more interesting.
But it's another game where, as it unfolds...
They're thinking long term, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, but also, when you beat the game, the reason that you were two people becomes incredibly relevant.
So you could have revealed it to the end. It's just so... I've seen the ending. I've seen the last 2 hours of it watching Pfister play it.
It's like he's making the opposite argument for a different game that he just made for Mass Effect. I mean, it's not the greatest game ever, but it's
No, I'm not
because...
Bad. No, I'm not. It is bad. It is bad because the entire game is boring.
Well,
it is frankly boring.
I mean, granted, obviously...
You do four things in the game, and you do them over and over and over.
But what about? Hang on.
Over.
What I've heard. This is just what I've heard because I'm talking from a very uninformed place on this game. I've not played it, but is that yes, you do those things over and over, but the first few times you do them is pretty cool, and the first exploring the world and that sort of sense of wonder and the graphics and the sense of place and the solidity of the world and the design, all of those things really do kind of add up to create quite a powerful mixture.
No argument. Beautiful game engine.
Well, I think
great realized world.
I think what's happening with this game, and I witnessed when I was walking around on the day after Christmas at game stores, I saw kids be like, "Oh, damn, Assassin's Creed is in stock," and I thought Assassin's Creed. People talking about Assassin's Creed as if it's like the cool ass game you have to get
because it was marketed well.
And I realized it was marketed very well, but it kind of works in the GTA way in that it's a game where you see someone in this world doing cool things, running around, and you're like, I wanted to be doing that.
You know what? It's more than that.
Maybe you don't sit down for 12 hours and see that ultimately the game is repetitive, but if you pick it up in 5 minutes, you're going to think it's badass.
It's the best parkour game yet.
Yeah, because you hold down one button and point your stick in a direction.
That whole idea of running up things and climbing up things, that it's the first time anyone's pulled off that.
It's very simple to make your character do really cool looking things with really cool graphics. It looks next gen. Whether or not the game is actually great, but I think just if you dip in, it seems cool.
I think if this had been a launch title, I think it would have been.
You guys are so.
No, it would have been
to me
9s and 10s.
To me, it's a classic launch title in a way because it doesn't really have that longevity. It doesn't really have that depth necessarily, but it does have all the pretty stuff in it, and it does make you
and in a lot of ways,
see how great the
designed
next generation can be.
In a way, on what Alex, I mean, not as successfully as what Alex is trying to do with Burnout Paradise, and that is, as much of it is about just jumping around and landing on things and killing shit and
but that's not what this game is about. But that's the most fun part of the game.
Well, but yeah,
the most fun part of the game.
The sandbox thing is the most fun thing about it.
And not even the sandbox thing, because there aren't other things to do. The most fun thing to do is what
There's
many
things you can find. You can climb to the highest point and find a thing, and
find the thing.
You can find some things.
Those would be like agility orbs.
In Crackdown, you loved it, and here you hate it.
Like agility orbs.
Yeah, double standard, dude. When Crackdown does it, you loved it. Seriously.
I didn't play Crackdown that long, and I didn't profess undying love for Crackdown.
It's a good comparison. There's not as many of them, and there's different types. There's like all the different flags, and it's a bit. I mean, its problem is that a lot of what it does is gratuitous, but the underlying mechanic is pretty solid.
It's a beautiful game. It's a great game engine. Okay, it's a beautiful world. And through the first district, it was cool, and through the second district, it was still sort of cool. But by the third district, doing eavesdropping, beating the hell out of a dude for no reason, which, by the way, those are the stupid. So the stupidest thing of all is the interrogations. Here you see a person talking, and then you follow them, and they just happen to walk into the darkest, most unobserved area of a city and stand there and wait for you. And your interrogation doesn't involve you walking up to them and talking to them.
Doesn't that describe most of Garnet's Saturday nights? Anyway,
your interrogation involves you walking up to them and beating the crap out of them until they suddenly start talking to you, because of course they knew what you wanted to know, just because you were beating the crap out of them. And then after that, you just kill them. How is that an interrogation? How is that interactive? How is that me being an assassin? These guys could have learned a good
deal. Don't assassins kill people?
Yes, but I mean, how is that?
They don't talk to them really first. I think that's the thing.
The what?
They don't talk to them first.
Okay,
maybe that's the problem.
Anyone ever play
Talkative
Thief?
Assassin's Creed.
Anyone ever play Thief?
I thought Thief was boring.
No, that didn't look very good.
I tried Thief and I didn't like it.
Yeah, Thief was boring.
I think that Thief had more interactivity and more things to do than this. You do the same things. I wish Assassin's Creed had another 18 months of development so that they could have made each one of the districts unique and interesting and done something with what they had.
I think they have a really great template for a game.
Yeah.
So I mean, this might be something for the next segment, but what I'm most interested in is what the sequel is actually going to be.
Yeah.
Is it Altair 2 or is it whatever his name is 2?
I hope it's completely different. I just for their own sake, just don't recycle it.
Completely different guy put into the machine to relive a completely different historical place.
Or is it set in the future with what's really happening?
Right, yeah.
They can go either way with it or do both, you know.
But what I do hope is that it's not Altair again.
I mean, obviously
they've done a pretty amazing thing, because what they've done with the virtual part of it, which I know you didn't particularly like very much, Garnet, was that they've given themselves this ability to do anything they want in the future with a brand that would always get people's attention. It's actually pretty clever,
and it's so successful.
It's just people killing, like a guy going and killing people wherever they want.
You could take that game wherever you want now, and that name on that box is going to get people's attention. So now they can really play, and the second one could be very exciting.
I'm just happy that it's not a Tom Clancy game.
Well, yeah, particularly at a time when Splinter Cell's fortunes are somewhat kind of rocky. I mean, they're sort of like declining.
It's make or break on the next one.
So
with massive spoiler alert included, there's no reason that they couldn't actually start the game this time and do it kind of backwards, the other way around. You know, now have the game playing in the modern times, but have some Splinter group of the Assassin's Guild that knew this was going to happen, playing some prehistory conceit.
The conclusion is fairly, I mean, without spoiling it too much, I mean, it is all building towards something that is in the future.
Right.
And it's the guild and the connection and there's a lot of sort of prophecy, and the fact that you are in Jerusalem and at a particularly sort of significant time all is coming to a head. But I'm not entirely sure why all the Incan stuff starts to kick in towards the end. It gets kind of, but I think a lot of it is them hinting
at what's going
to come. And I think, but a lot of it is, I think they got a little bogged down in their own cleverness in a lot of things. Like when you start, if you played it far enough, that the shit starts appearing that he starts seeing. Mm-hmm. Like independent of the rest of the game, there's this extra layer of his perception where there's messages start appearing, and by the end of the game,
like the glowy red,
the glowy red writing and stuff. By the end of the game, the glowy red writing is every fucking where, and you can sort of wander up to it, and if you haven't read all the cheat sites that have given it away already, it is kind of fun just to kind of try and work out how they've executed the messages and stuff.
But inside the game, the most fun thing to do, and I'll give you this, I think the reason a lot of people like it maybe is this. One of the one of the most talked about things that people enjoyed doing in Grand Theft Auto games was going out, running around, beating the hell out of people, seeing how high they could get their star meters, and evading the police. And you can do that in this game.
I think,
and then you get to play, and then the parkour comes through, and all the guys chasing you comes out, and the only thing that's lacking is, I mean, there were points where I was doing that, and I was thinking, wow, I wonder when the helicopter's coming out.
But I think what's significant about this game is that the vast majority of people that bought it, and there were a lot of people that bought it, do not agree that it's bad.
Anyway. All right, before we go to break, I want to do one other quick thing. We ran a little contest, and I'd like to give you the winners. We have winners. Remember our contest for the Buzz?
Oh, I remember that contest very, very well. Because
you won.
Because I won. And I found out I was not the favorite.
You were not the favorite.
I saw the numbers. I was number 3.
You should have been the favorite on that, seriously.
So these 3 valiant supporters of the Shane
smart
have come through. So in the first place, the 2 first place winners who got the what did they got?
They get a Slimline Silver PS2 with SingStar and Buzz. Right?
No, that's the grand prize.
Okay.
They get a Slimline PS2 and Buzz. That would be Mace Boston.
Mace
Boston.
Mace.
Is he some kind of Jedi?
Yeah. I hope so.
Way to go, Mace. And Seong Park. So there you go. Those are your 2 first place winners.
Congratulations, true believers.
And the grand prize goes out to Annette.
A chick?
Yes.
Hot.
And I'm going
to... Like, is it Annette Funicello?
No. What's
that'd be even better.
Mokaby? Is that the way?
What am I looking at?
Annette Mokaby? Is that
Annette Mokaby.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Annette Mokaby. So congratulations. Our promotions department should be getting a hold of you very soon.
Congratulations, yes.
We'll get these prizes out to you.
Are they going to...
Happy 2008?
I heard they were going to try to splice together some sort of like little segment of the actual Buzz tournament, because we taped the whole thing and it's really long, but I heard they might try to create a highlight reel.
That's not my department.
Oh. All right. It was good times.
Annette, get your restraining order ready now.
Yeah,
but you were there, were you?
No,
you weren't. None of you were here.
I was in the office. I was working.
I of course came out to a very early lead, and Stupid Buzz, which I'd never played. There's a round in there. There's a round in there where everyone can gang up on whoever's winning and like sabotage them.
Did they gang up on you?
Of course they did. So I went from
the points away.
I went from first to last because everyone chose me to like dump on and take all my points from, and then I had 2 more rounds to regain it, and I did. I got every single one right.
All right.
Fools.
Well, I'm going to give everyone a break between...
Well, everyone wants to sleep with you now, Shane.
Oh, dear. Wow. I'm going to give everyone a break between round 1 and round 2 of this show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the 07 wrap-up and 08 predictions.
Rated T for Teen.
Sierra Entertainment proudly presents Empire Earth 3. Experience 3 unique factions: the West, the Mideast, the Far East, and introducing the new World Domination Mode. Keep the spoils of war as you build your empire across a realistically rendered Earth. Empire Earth 3. Conquer the Earth. Visit EmpireEarth.com. Empire Earth 3. Available now for the PC.
All right, and we're back and ready to hit into a little recap of our 07 predictions, and then we'll do 08 predictions.
Are there some Luke predictions in there?
Are you kidding me? Are there Luke predictions? Of course.
I forgot how long ago it was he left.
I bet he predicted that Halo 3 would sell 8.1 million copies.
And Halo 3 would be really awesome.
He even joked in that episode about Kimmy working for us.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So there you go. All right, so a couple of things that just came up during the preliminary run-up to the second segment, which was where we did extra predictions. John, you talked about how the PS3 needed to accelerate showing off things, that it wasn't showing enough of it, wasn't tipping its hat enough, wasn't, getting people's appetites wet at all. We also had a big joke about Wii supply problems, and that people were starting to get annoyed with there not being supply for Wii in the channel.
Yeah. We couldn't have foreseen the insanity.
I just had worked on a story for now about trying to get a Wii, and it's like you still, until January 25th, everyone is sold out. And then on January 25th, everyone that pre-ordered gets their delivery, and you still can't walk into a store and
sold
buy
out
one.
Again.
Yeah.
By the way, at the time Luke, of course, made the joke about it being built out of old Xbox components. And then the other big joke we made was like, look, 12 units showing up to a store is not a shipment. That's like a quarter of a mistake.
Walmart gets them in blocks of 2, and sometimes they only get one box with 2 in it.
Excellent.
And Sears' allocation is apparently so low that what happens is that it gets logged, because you can go to a lot of stores now and get the store availability. So they scan them off the truck. It updates the website and says in stock, but they get so few units that the guys that work in the stock room are looking out for Wii's for their buddies.
Oh, nice.
Putting them aside. So there's not even enough Wii's going into Sears to meet that demand.
So wait a minute though. So how many? So they say they have 1.5 million a month or whatever. What are they producing? 1.2 million?
I don't know, but Amazon said they sold 17 a second
when they had them.
Right, but I mean they're producing worldwide 1.5 million Wii's a month, and how many is the US getting?
About a third.
About a third. So they're getting 500,000 of them. So how come those shipments are so tiny to these big stores? Like, they must be going.
Sears
there's still quite a few Wii's
Sears
every
is
month.
apparently considered a second-tier store.
Well, I mean,
who's getting
second? They got to be a third-tier.
The Nintendo store in New York gets several hundred every day, right?
Yeah, they get them every morning.
Every morning they
open at 9, and they've always sold out.
There's a line of people.
10-15 minutes. Yeah.
Right. And what about Walmart?
Walmart gets them several times a week. Actually, one way that I found that's a good way to get it, Costco gets them every Monday.
It's bundles at Costco, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's only $340. It's 2 games.
Only.
You have to buy a watch made in India with it.
Yeah.
Only.
So Walmart's bundle is $677. You got to buy 6 games that you probably don't want.
Jesus.
And an accessory, but at least the classics in there. And in the bundle at Walmart, you can't buy Super Mario Galaxy. You have to buy it separately.
But you do get, Ninja Bread Man 2.
That kind of thing. But at Costco, what you can do is they take delivery on Mondays and they put them out Tuesday morning. So if you have the gold card that costs $100, but you get like 2% back every year, you can go in an hour early. So you can go in at 10 on Tuesday instead of 11. And that's the way to get them.
Well, there you go. So we also talked a little bit about fighting games. In fighting games, you're going to love this. I said that Soul Calibur 3 did everything that I wanted to, and Shane, you said that you'd actually like to see a Soul Calibur 4.
I think I probably said you were insane. I mean, I love Soul Calibur 3, but it's not the best Soul Calibur in any stretch of the imagination.
We also talked about whether or not high definition had spoiled us. And
yes.
That was kind of the consensus, actually. So it's ironic because I wanted to get to that very quickly in the conversation against Wii, in comparison, not against, but comparing Wii to PS3 and 360. And we already started to talk about how HD games were really starting to give us.
Yeah, the only one this year that I didn't really notice was Mario.
Were you pissed in 07?
About what?
I don't know. Were you pissed? Because you assured everyone that if Metroid or Mario are in the fourth quarter, you'd be pissed.
Well, Metroid was third quarter, and I was pissed. I was pissed that Mario. I mean, I was pissed that Mario got pushed as late as it did. But good things come to those who wait. And
you know why you were going to be pissed? You were going to be pissed because you didn't think that they'd have those two out at the same time that Smash Brothers Brawl was out.
Well, there you go. Jesus. And I gotta say, I'm very disappointed in the Nintendo fans who didn't buy Metroid. It was kind of a flop.
You know what? That's kind of a good point. We really cruised past Metroid very quickly.
We did, and I kind of forget about it. It's a really good game. It's not as good as the first two, but it's still really good.
It makes me feel especially bad because one of my good buddies works at Retro Studios that it's on my pile of shame already, and I already know that it's.
You should play it. It's really good.
I should totally play it. I don't disagree with you. I said that Warhawk would be fall. Because that was at the same time that I was myopically thinking there would be some sort of single-player component to it. So obviously I was completely off on my own world there. You also told us that there are a lot of 07 games that had been shown, and one of them was the 8 Days game.
It's been shown at E3 2 years ago.
It's not even an 08 game.
It's apparently still coming. So
in 09, right?
What is the 8 Days game for those who?
It was shown. It was a first-party game where they blew up it looked kind of like a Tarantino, where they're blowing up a gas station.
It looked really cool.
It
did look really cool.
Who knows?
Just sort of cool.
It's a mystery. You can go look the trailers online somewhere.
The trailers online, game videos.
Lots of cool, not so much game.
Not so much game.
Right.
Lots of cool trailer. You were really on a roll at this point because this is when you busted out the fact that Devil May Cry 4 is totally confirmed, never going anywhere else ever other than PS3.
Mistakes were made.
Luke said that nothing will make more money in 07 than Burning Crusade. I don't know that he was wrong.
I don't think he was wrong. No.
I think he was actually probably
if
right.
You just count World of Warcraft, in general,
and discount the sale of Activision.
Well, right. So I think the big salient point came next, which was what John brought up as a counterpoint to that, which was at some point in time, World of Warcraft peaks. And you said at some point in time it peaks, right? Mm-hmm. The answer is apparently not yet.
Well, when they announced the development of a new MMO, that's Blizzard saying we know it peaked.
Yeah.
You think? I mean,
Well, we know it. When we tell you what it is, that's when we say it peaked.
Yeah.
Because the thing of World of Warcraft right now is that it continues to go strong. It continues to add more people. You just did that thing. Everyone hates it when we do the ice.
Sorry. I thought it had melted in my sippy cup.
That's the thing about World of Warcraft is...
Your Jar Jar Binks sippy cup.
It is really cute. It's very adorable.
Nice colours.
I'm glad you don't take any pictures while we're doing this. Anyway, continue with your diatribe.
What were you talking about?
I don't even remember.
We were talking about
World of Warcraft maintaining its momentum. But you know what? It hasn't just maintained its momentum. It continues to grow. And that really is one of the more spectacular things. I was actually reading on one of the blogs in the last week or two how it was amazing that online gaming hasn't even plateaued. It continues to grow. World of Warcraft continues to add subscribers. It continues to add people plunking down $15 a month to play the game. It's amazing.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing. Luke said that he was excited for Marathon on live.
Well, of course, Luke said that.
Maybe it wasn't quite the marathon he was expecting.
I wasn't excited for Marathon the first time around.
And that it was... You're just old enough to remember that.
Yeah,
and that it wasn't coming from Bungie, it was coming from Certain Affinity.
He was right about that, wasn't he?
And then the new Geometry Wars with co-op.
That didn't happen.
Geometry Wars, but it had co-op.
Does the Wii and the Wii one has co-op? I haven't played it yet.
The DS one does.
Oh,
I think. It's been a while since I played it.
I don't think that's what we meant, though.
No, it wasn't really what you meant, no.
In fact, I'm bummed that there wasn't a real Geometry Wars sequel for Xbox Live Arcade.
Shane, you were telling us that no one should be too excited about PSP games because what they should really be thinking about was the next PSP hardware.
Yeah, like instead we got the Slim line, which is kind of unexpected. And
so you were kind of right. You had the idea they were going to do a hardware
talk about it. I
version.
still think PSP is kind of a weird place, but
there's more Slims coming as well. Apparently, there's a red one coming, and
well, the red one's out in Japan. It has a TV tuner built in.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That's to compete with how popular the TV tuner in cell phone market is in Japan, which is something we don't have at all in North America. I just completely missed on Mass Effect and was like, oh yeah, Mass Effect will be out in the summer and be out before Christmas, no problem. And but everyone agreed with me, so that wasn't. I don't feel quite so bad about that. And then, John, you thought that Mass Effect would be much more like Oblivion in that they would start delivering the extra downloadable content to add on to the game. Of course, since they shut the door at the end of the game, that kind of makes all of that somewhat marginalized, right? You did, however, very successfully predict in December of 2006 that Grand Theft Auto would not make its ship date in 2007.
Ooh, that was controversial.
Yeah. Nailed it. Very controversial at the time. You nailed it. Shane, you said at that point that you were very much looking forward to Assassin's Creed, but that you were looking for...
Should we talk about that some more?
No.
Garnet, what do you think of Assassin's Creed?
But you will have to answer me this. You were looking forward to it for the PS3 motion controls?
I'd heard at that point that they were like adding motion controls to the PS3 version. Guess not.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, so my next big miss, because I actually, if you're going back through the thread, obviously, if you're tallying this up, I probably missed more than anyone else. I went off on this whole tangent at that point about how I thought the PC with Vista and DX10 was going to...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time...
I grabbed the shovel and I dug myself quite a deep hole.
But at the time, they were putting a lot of attention on it, which they took their foot off the gas.
They didn't take their foot
significantly. Well, actually, they threw the key out the window and just sort of walked away.
Absolutely. It's unbelievable.
I'm curious what your predictions are for the PC gaming market in 08. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I actually thought about that a good bit when I was listening to this, and I don't even know that I have one because they've really, that's the point, John. They didn't just take their foot off the gas. They didn't put it on the brake. They took the key out of the ignition, threw it out the fucking window, and said, whatever. Okay, bye, casual games, whatever.
Nice try.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
Here's Luxor 3.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Warcraft.
So, John, you brought up Spore. I talked about Crysis.
We can bring up Spore for three more years, probably.
at least, right? The one thing, though, that did come out of this was very big was that John said that he thought we would see StarCraft before we ever saw anything about Diablo 3. You're
yes.
You're all over this shit, boy.
Ding, 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 ding.
You're nailing on it. I'm except for this point.
Uh-oh.
Shadowrun will be the beginning of multi-platform game development.
and the end. Did you see they closed the forums?
The forums are closed.
Oh dear.
But they said the forums are closed, but the remaining Shadowrun fans might find some other forum unaffiliated with Microsoft to go hang out.
Here is a link to vbulletin.com.
Yeah.
On the FOSSA tip, I did sort of jump out there and say that I thought there'd be Crimson Skies.
Well, they bought the rights back, didn't they?
Yeah.
Someone bought the rights back.
Something happened with Crimson Skies, and to be fair, Crimson Skies did turn up on Xbox Originals.
Yes, it did. There you go. So, I honestly thought, and from seeing concept arts and stuff that's out there, I think that there's lots of people who are thinking about it, but it's obviously still further down the road than we had hoped, which is a shame because I thought it was a great Xbox title. Shane, you had told us that everyone starting in, I believe it was April, would be playing Pokemon. And we'd be playing Pokemon for months.
They are.
For months?
Yeah, it's still selling like crazy.
Pokemon is huge.
We didn't... you know what? So here's where I'm going to differentiate for a second. It is huge, and it did great in the popular market. But around the office, Pokemon didn't catch on to me the way I thought it would. It's sort of like a Phantasy Star Universe versus Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah, I tried to push some people into it who normally wouldn't try it, and they were afraid.
You're not 8.
But I don't think that ever...
No,
I hear you, John. I hear you, but that never impacted...
You don't have to be 8. And I think if you
Exactly.
started playing it now, I'd start playing it with you again. I mean, like, I did randomly fight Pokemon with adults on the bus who I didn't know. Like, that did happen in real life. Like, there was a point earlier this year when Pokemon was being played in mass.
That's kind of cool.
By everybody. It's true.
One of the more shocking moments when I was going back and listening to this was...
So what we're saying now is that it's not being played by hardcore gamers.
Really,
right?
That it didn't catch around the office the way that he had thought it would.
Yeah, I thought more people around the office would play it. It's true.
And Pokemon's kind of an interesting case because it was designed by the marketing group, right? And it was developed to be this long-term.
What are you talking about? Designed by the marketing group?
The Pokemon.
That's not true.
It wasn't?
The creator of Pokemon is the creator. It's a long story, but no.
But no, I don't mean the fact.
Hold on,
that
correct me. I want to know. I want to know
the guy who made
background.
Pokemon. It was his idea because he liked collecting bugs as a kid for real, and he made Pokemon because his original game, the first game he made, which is called Mendel's Fight Palace. In America was a big failure, so he thought he was personally a failure, and he wanted to prove to the world and to everyone he knew that he could make a good game. That was successful.
So, I mean, are you taking Shane's prediction that everyone would be playing Pokemon as everyone in the office would be playing Pokemon?
Because I think that's what I meant, actually.
That's actually what you meant. That's what he said.
Everybody playing Pokemon,
right?
Because there's millions of people playing Pokemon.
Yeah. No argument about that. Right. No argument about that. Pokemon.
It's more just a personal disappointment with you people.
Just you people. Wait, did you just call me you people?
I did.
Damn you! The more interesting comment that Shane made right after that was that he was really, and I mean, he said this quite adamantly, looking forward to Blue Dragon. How did that turn out for you?
It's actually number 2 in my pile of shame under BioShock.
Mm-hmm. So when you were really looking forward to it, what you meant was...
Well, then I heard the music, then I heard the boss battle music, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. No, I still actually, I played a little bit of it, and I do like it, and I think I might end up liking it more than Lost Odyssey. We'll see.
Okay, John. Once again, this is the John was right show.
It's always the John was right.
Yes,
I think Crackdown will be really good and will surprise a lot of people.
And wasn't it?
And then I actually had my one thing that I was really, really right about, which was BioShock. And we had
You called BioShock?
We had a big argument about BioShock, and then at the end of it all, I said that it would be a shooter at its heart, but it would be an intelligent shooter, and it would be like the pinnacle of everything that Ken's tried to do before, and it would achieve all the goals that he'd set out before. And wow, for once I was right. Holy frickin' cow. All right, so there you go, gentlemen. Bring out your notes, because it's time to put your names on the line, because 365 or so days from now, we'll be revisiting this episode right now, where you said...
Who's going to start?
What?
What?
What did you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, what would I start with? I would say we're going to be taking the iPhone very seriously as a gaming platform. It's become a viable game platform this year.
Yeah, I mean, we might find out.
The first Mac product to do so.
Next week? Week
ever.
after?
Yeah.
Beyond casual stuff?
Yeah.
Has anyone sitting here bought even an iTunes game and put it on their iPod?
I bought Peggle.
I played the music one. It wasn't on my iPhone. It was on a friend's iPhone.
I bought Peggle and I bought Pulse.
Pulse, yeah. I played
And?
They're good.
And recently there's been the whole hubbub over being able to play Doom on your...
Yeah, someone put it... Well, they put it Doom, but they didn't put any controls to it.
Oh.
Because, the problem is mapping some kind of touch...
There's also a Scum emulator, which is the LucasArts graphic adventure, like Day of the Tentacle.
It's going to be very specific types. I think people that do try and do the Doom thing are barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
And it is going to be...
Games like Flow would be very good.
Yeah,
on the iPhone,
and a lot of
like
DS-type games with one touch screen where it's all very sort of simple interaction. Because more often than not, with that kind of thing, you are just looking to sort of fiddle with something.
I was hearing a weird thing about Apple's games. So, Sonic, which recently came to the other iPods, not iPhone or iTouch.
It's really bad.
It's really bad, and it was done by Foundation 9, one of the groups over there. But apparently, when you make your game and then you send it to Apple, and then Apple makes it magically work on iPods. They don't tell you how to do that. You don't do that as a developer.
They're proprietary about the whole thing.
They do that for you. So, that's the way games happen on Apple stuff still.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the way it's going to be...
Yeah, but the iPhone's a much more open platform in that respect.
Yeah, that's just for the old iPhones.
The dev kits are heading out now, and so the first stuff is supposed to drop on the official stuff, not the hacked, jailbroken stuff, is supposed to start hitting in February. And I think it'll start with the obvious stuff, like the Bejeweleds and the Peggles and the...
Well, there's also the fact that the Flash is not part of the iPhone setup right now, but it will be, and when it is, that opens a whole new world.
EA is going hard on...
Works on Symbian.
Yeah, what?
Flash?
Yeah.
We all know why Flash doesn't work on iPhones, so you can't use Skype.
So let me ask you a question. How did iPhone wind up as your first comment? This is it's a very interesting comment for you to jump out there, because for folks who obviously this is radio, I'm looking at Simon when I say, and you said, and it put him very much on the spot, and his first response is iPhone's going to be a gaming platform.
Well, actually, because John's got his in here, and I was looking at it, and it reminded me that was important.
But I think in 2008 we'll be seeing cute casual games on iPhone that are good and maybe better than the versions you can play on your other phone. Yeah. But will there be a game experience? You have to go play this game.
Yes. Well, you know what? For me, it's connected more to the other sort of prediction, which is not really much of a prediction because we all know it's happening, which is the whole independent gaming thing and the sort of the low barrier to entry with stuff like PSN and Xbox Live games. I think that's going to ramp up even more this year, and I think the big guys are going to get much more into it. I think the big companies are going to get much more into it, and those kind of games lend themselves to portable systems. And the iPhone's going to be in a lot more pockets this year. It's got to be a serious contender.
Okay, so before we go down that avenue, let me ask you a question. Anyone give a rat's ass about the new N-Gage?
No.
As I said, when we were at LucasArts...
Wait, there's a new N-Gage?
Yeah.
I thought it was a service now.
It's a chipset.
That's what it is. It's a gaming platform.
But as I said, we were at LucasArts seeing Star Wars Force Unleashed, and they were naming all the platforms and the developers.
And N-Gage is one of them.
And the last one, they were like, oh, an N-Gage, and we all laughed. And they're like, no. We're not kidding. It's really for the new N-Gage.
Yeah. See, I love my Symbian phone. Everyone rocks their iPhone. I love my Symbian phone. I love Symbian.
I think N-Gage it's a poison name. It's
bad all round. Yeah,
but it's not. It's no longer a piece of hardware now. It's a whole software idea.
But that's even worse, isn't it? We're taking something that was one thing and keeping the name and making it something completely different. That's a disaster.
The problem across all the mobile stuff is that there are so many different variations that it's impossible for a publisher to go, I'm going to make a mobile game, and it's going to scale.
And that's why iPhone's going to do great this year.
If you're talking cell phone things, I'm going to jump in with a crazy cell phone prediction. The Spectrum, the FCC is auctioning off a bunch in
700 megahertz, right?
In a few months, and NTT Docomo is looking to buy. And if they do buy, if the Japanese NTT Docomo company buys that and brings their phones here, the phones that run Square Enix games that look better than DS games, for real, the Kingdom Hearts game coming out for phones is twice as good as the DS game.
Parasite Eve,
Parasite Eve 3, that could change things because those are games that hardcore gamers want to play that they have no ability to play right now.
Right.
So if that happens and those phones end up here,
and between that and the open handset stuff, where there's with Verizon they're not gonna screen the hardware quite as. I mean, it's coming to a head now that that phones could become a bit more viable.
Yeah, we always make fun of cell phone games, but maybe we won't.
But 08 could be the first year where it really is.
Verizon made that concession because they wanted to look good to the FCC to try and bargain for that megahertz for that auction.
Right,
I mean, they had to do that.
Right, but it's a necessary step. They got to all of them have got to stop buying in phones from HTC and whoever, and then balking the fuck out of them and not letting them do what they're intended for.
Verizon's been at the leading tip of screwing you over as far as taking stuff out of phones and making you buy their, what do they call it, whatever the hell it is. Their
Vcast.
Vcast. Oh my God,
that's got to go away so that this other stuff can happen. And it might take another provider coming in, or it might take Apple, who controls the platform completely,
right.
saying you got to deal with us on the software side.
If you look at how fast the mobile platform has grown in 10 years, it's nuts, you know.
Yeah. But standardization is what grows a business.
Yeah,
that's what people want. They can't take this.
So I think that's a really solid prediction. That the beginning of standardization.
Well, and I think the only other change that could change the future of cell phone games is if Nintendo ever enters the space.
And would they? Are you going to say that?
I don't think they're going to make a phone, but if they ever entered a deal with somebody, you know.
The new DS is just a new DS, right?
Who knows?
I mean, the rumor is bigger screens and no GBA slot, right?
That's the rumor.
No GPS?
No GBA.
No GBA.
No. I'm asking. No GPS?
No GBA? I doubt it.
We'll
whatever they do with the next one, it's got to be cheaper, right? If it's going to be cooler and cheaper. I think it's the next phase of DS. So the battery's got to last longer.
Okay.
The screen's got to be bigger and brighter, and you start putting stuff like GPS in there, and you're sapping battery.
DS is very ensconced as like a kid's device, and it's an adult device as well. But you're not going to suddenly make it a $300 expensive thing that kids can't buy. No, it's a kid's device.
Well, I think the challenge they have as far as that goes, though, is the form factor of the DS is really, really elegant. Really,
I think it's going to be. I mean, one of the things that taking the GBA thing out is they can make it thinner.
Right.
When you look at a lot of technology right now, the fattest thing on the DS is that hole.
So they can take the Samsung route.
Yeah.
Which is make it super, super, super thin. And
yeah.
It's the smallest thing you ever had, right?
And make it even more efficient on battery so it lasts even longer.
Are you saying we're going to see this new DS revealed in 2008?
Yeah.
You do think so? You think at E3? Or you think at TGS? Or
I don't know. Maybe the end of the year.
End of the year?
They've still got a lot of momentum coming out of the holidays right now.
Number one selling platform.
What would possess them to do that? Because I would like to see them do
They'll do it because it'll be... The reason they'll do it is not because they need to stimulate the market. It's because they need to make them cheaper. And they can make them cooler and cheaper at the same time.
I think they might also want to put some storage in there, because if we're hearing about you can download games from your Wii to your DS, Reggie's talking about this now. Well, you need some storage. They really have
not that so it disappears when you turn it off.
Right.
So what about predictions?
So will it get thinner then?
I think so. Yeah.
But I mean, if they're putting storage in there, then
micro SD
SDs, you can lose them.
Yeah.
They're like the size of a sunflower seed.
Your fingernail. Yeah,
that's true.
So how about the Wii hardware? What's going to happen with the Wii hardware?
They keep talking about the DVD-enabled Wii that's still coming. Iwata and Reggie both said it. I'm like,
really?
I'm like, why?
Is it
why? I don't know. Why not make it an HD Wii that does something else? And
surely that could be a firmware update, though.
But we still sold out. So why change it?
Yeah.
That's kind of the struggle they're at. So this has been an ongoing argument that we've had on the show and outside of the show. The Wii has been incredibly successful. So that certainly has undermined our argument. But that it doesn't change the fact that there's a lot of Wii selling compared to the amount of software that's selling for it. And there's certainly, I think there's a valid argument that people buy the Wii to play a game or two. And buy it as a device that this is my Wii Play device. This is my.
It's a toy.
It's a toy.
Buy it. Okay. I was trying to avoid that because I think it's denigrating, but as a sophisticated,
it shouldn't be. It's a plaything.
It's an excellent toy.
Yeah.
So, what's the chances of them making a Wii that's not just a toy?
This year, 0.
I don't think we'll see it this year.
Beyond that?
Well, then we're in Wii 2 territory.
So do you think it'll be Wii 2 before they bring it? So do you think they'll follow the kind of...
I think this will be the first time that Nintendo iterates generationally on a hardware platform, because it's such a strong brand now. Every previous generation has really been reinventing the whole thing. Whatever they do next will be a super Wii.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Too.
That's what I was going to ask. Because before they've done this thing of, well, here's the first version of a product, and then here's the refined version, and then there's never a second one. It's always, my God, here's this.
But the next one will be Wii HD or whatever.
And hopefully they'll actually be able to improve on the input mechanism as well.
Yeah.
Because how would you improve on it?
Make it more accurate.
I have a Wii one.
Okay.
I think Wii Fit will be one of the biggest games of the year.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
If not the biggest game of the year.
What's going to drive it?
Moms.
Marketing, alpha moms.
Yeah. Alpha moms. You're all about the alpha mom.
Well,
what about the alpha mom is going to drive Wii Fit?
Well, because it really works and it's actually fun and well done. And
moms like fitness, and they like Wii.
Yeah, and the games on it are fun for your kid, for your whole family. Like the Pilates and yoga, your kids aren't going to do that, but your mom will do that.
Does this mean that I'm going to have a THQ, The Biggest Loser game?
Oh yes. God, we'll do that. There'll be 24-hour fitness games, crunch fitness games, you name it.
Yeah.
Any fitness brand you could think of, people will pile on with it, and like all the publishers will be like scrounging up any kind of like Reebok has gyms now in hotels. There'll be a Reebok game. There'll be a Nike game.
There already was a Nike game for PS2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kinetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think and the Fit will be the catalyst for another way of the Wii being the hub of something. Again, not necessarily gamey, but by making it a game-like experience, making people more likely to do it and forget that the Wii is a games console.
Okay, so if that's the casual and broad appeal market, what hope do hardcore gamers have for the Wii in the future?
Smash Brothers is their dream come true, and it's such a big, huge game that Nintendo nuts can play it all year and still be unlocking trophies and playing online, and it just it's just giving them everything they want.
And I think a lot of the hardcore gamers are going to buy No More Heroes.
See, we'll see.
Because they want it to be good. I don't think it's going to be good, but they really want it to be.
I think it's weirder than they think, and I think a lot of these people who think they like it don't really know what it is. But
it's so much the anti-Wii game because it appeals to everything that the Wii isn't.
But I think you're overestimating the number of like hardcore gamers with Wiis actually.
What's your gut feeling on Animal Crossing?
I think it'll come out in November.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Mario Kart's going to get pushed back. And
You think Mario Kart's going to be in this position that we're in with Brawl, where it gets pushed beyond where you would actually expect it to be?
No, I think Mario Kart will come out in like September.
Really?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it'll be out in March magically and surprise us all.
Will we for as long as the Wii's been around, as long as the Wii is around, will we always be slaved to friend codes and archaic systems like that?
Yes. Another thing we didn't talk about on Wii is WiiWare, and I think WiiWare is going to really disappoint everybody. We'll see. That's my.
What? Whoa, that's a big thing to say. Why do you think it's going to disappoint everybody?
The size limit. The size limit is tiny. Okay. Very, very small, and the games are going to be prohibitively priced for what you get.
But look what's done online with just Flash games. There's fantastic games.
Yeah, do you want to spend 1,000 points on that? 1,000 Nintendo points for a Flash
what's
game?
a point?
A penny.
No, what I'm saying is, what's the point?
Just win $10.
That's the point,
just
right?
Spend
$10 on a Flash
$10
game?
for a game you'd play in a window for 5 minutes.
That I play on my Wii, casually relaxing on my couch with my Wii remote. It's a different market. Remember the whole argument is it's a different market.
I think Nintendo, like if the rumors are to be believed, and they're making like Zelda and Metroid and Mario related WiiWare titles, like some of those might be really good because they're coming out of Nintendo.
Okay,
but I think a lot of the third party stuff's going to be shit.
Well, doesn't that always happen?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the other two, the HD guys, PS3, 360. Where are they going? Someone jump out there. You guys brought notes. Do you need a light for your notes?
Well, I think that
go ahead.
I think status quo for 360. I think it'll be a lot like this year, except without a Halo, and a lot like last year. 2007. I think steady momentum, a lot of good releases, a lot of good third-party stuff.
What month do you think GTA?
Silence.
June. That's my guess. What do you guys think?
I was going to say May.
Yeah. May, June.
Really? Why do you guys think it's going to be May, June? See, I got burned on this last year.
You think it's April? You think it's April 1st? Really? That's a date on EB right now. Yeah, that's a real one.
I think that it'll be a Christmas release.
You are on crack.
I think that it'll be a Christmas release, and I think Metal Gear Solid 4 will be a Christmas release.
No. Metal Gear Solid 4 is June.
Okay. Why?
Because it's
nearly done.
Because Kojima's had to prostrate himself and apologize personally twice for the delays.
That's fine. At the end of the day, it's the publishers that make the call as to when the game hits the shelf.
And trust me, Konami needs to put this game out as soon as possible.
Okay, now I would almost buy that. I would almost buy that.
Almost buy that they have released a game in like a year that. Besides Winning 11 that sells.
But Winning 11 does sell, and Winning 11 makes them a lot of money, and they have another version.
There was that Frogger game with the pad.
That's true.
I think that, so here, last year when we were doing predictions, I got burned by thinking that a lot of games would be out before the Christmas season. And look what happened in 2007. Everybody stockpiled and loaded up the Christmas season.
Yeah, but I think Metal Gear and GTA are ones that really are going to be out before the third quarter. I really do think that.
Okay, so where does that leave it? Let me just give you some other titles. How about Killzone 2?
Well,
September.
The problem with Killzone 2 is Resistance 2.
Well, that's
the problem.
That's over here in my question mark pile. I mean, I had this other question mark pile of games like Gears of War 2, Resistance 2,
Gears of War
Motorstorm 2.
Gears of War 2 and Resistance 2 will both come out in November of 2008.
Really?
I'd bet money on it.
I thought Gears of War was an 2009 game.
I heard it was 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say that I don't think that either Resistance or Gears of War will be out this year.
All right,
because
you said it.
They'll give Killzone some room.
Gives Killzone some room, and both of them are going to have extremely high expectations.
Okay, well, here's another prediction. Killzone 2 will under-deliver, and Resistance 2 will over-deliver.
Really? I don't argue with you. I mean, I thought Resistance was a fairly strong game.
I still think Killzone will be before it won't be November. I think it'll be September. I think they'll hit it early the way they used to with the SOCOMs.
I see. I would almost believe that. I think that you'll see Killzone before you see Metal Gear.
No,
I'm telling you. I think that Metal Gear.
Garnet.
No, I think
I know that you're wrong on this one. All right.
You know what?
I know that you're wrong on this one.
Millions of gamers will be very happy if I am wrong.
You are wrong. I've played an hour of Metal Gear Solid, and people played 20 minutes of Killzone.
Okay, MotorStorm 2.
2009.
Well, it depends if they half-ass it again.
I mean, if they did the Japanese beta release version and then the North American version.
MotorStorm 1 isn't quite done yet.
Yeah, they're still finishing it.
I think they'll show MotorStorm 2 by the end of this year, but it won't be out.
All right, how about games like Ninja Gaiden 2?
I think it's really coming out before summer, actually.
Anyone else want to jump in on Ninja Gaiden? What do you think? What do you think about Ninja Gaiden 2? Is it going to be a huge success? Is it going to?
Yes,
are people?
I think it'll be very good and be a huge success, but won't reinvent the wheel.
What do you mean by huge success compared to the other ones?
I think it'll be a critical success and a commercial success.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a critical success.
And by that you mean 1 million? You mean 3 million?
Oh, it's undiscovered country. There aren't any character action games on Xbox 360. So until we see what Devil May Cry 4 can sell, what do you really do? You really know what something can sell? The market on there is shooters and RPGs.
Yeah,
we don't know if those people want character action games. Presumably they do, especially good ones like Ninja Gaiden 2. So hopefully it could sell 8 million copies like Halo.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Well, I think that actually 360 has a tough, and this is something that I talked about. I've been doing these blogs online of 08 resolutions for success. I think that there's certainly a vacuum right now with the absence of Halo 3. What steps in there? I got some flack for
Gears of War 2.
I think there's a good argument for that. I think there's a very good argument for that, but they haven't talked about that yet. But they have been talking about games
it's real.
Of course.
And they've been making it for a while.
There's no doubt about that.
People all over the world have been working on that for a long time.
The Cops game that the Crackdown team were going to work on, what was that called? APB. Is that going to hit this year?
Is it going to hit ever?
Who's the publisher on that?
I don't know.
Is it Vivendi or something?
Microsoft, I think.
No, I thought it was a third party.
Because what I was really disappointed by is when they came out in whenever it was September and said we are not working on Crackdown 2, which I think is criminal considering how much people love that game and how well it ended up doing. I mean, it ended up doing nearly 1 million. I mean, it was successful.
Much better than Shadowrun.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the chances of you seeing APB are about as likely as seeing Huxley.
But that team has now proven that they've got.
At least one person laughed. Christ, I thought that was pretty good.
Huxley,
whatever. Yeah.
Any chance?
Huxley?
Yes. Any chance
of being cancelled? Yes.
No.
Does anyone care? I think this.
It'll hit on PC.
Question.
You think so?
Yeah, we'll get a PC version.
Interesting. So let me ask you another question. Where does this is going to be kind of incendiary? Where does Unreal Engine 3 figure in the course of things?
I don't know. I think it's being outclassed.
I think it's being outclassed. I think it I think it very quickly went from being the look at what we can do with technology to the maybe there's some games that can do this whole thing better.
Okay, I'll say when it's kind of done, when Unreal Engine 3 is done in 2008, and it's everyone's games look good that use it. When third parties can buy this and make good looking games, that'll be good because we won't be seeing the shitty games that look like PS2 games that have been up-res anymore ever. Because everything will have a baseline standard of looking like a good Unreal Engine 3 game, and that's good. That's a good
sort
thing.
of mission accomplished for it.
Yeah,
that would be mission accomplished, definitely.
So in that respect, 2008 is them sort of completing their goal with Unreal Engine 3.
Right.
But I think what we are going to see is that we're starting to talk about whatever emerges as the next thing, whether it's CryEngine or...
Right. Well, because I think we're already seeing games, we mentioned that in some ways Burnout, Devil May Cry, Uncharted look better than Unreal Engine 3 games.
So we've always talked about how important, not always, but we've talked it many times about how next generation development was very heavily dependent on development of good middleware tools. However, what Unreal Engine 3 has pointed out is how hard it is to develop a good middleware tool in this generation.
Does anyone else want to predict what's going to happen with the Silicon Knights versus Epic lawsuit in 2008?
Be my guest.
I don't want to predict. I want to say that 2 Human is on the top of my most look forward to 360 games.
I see it right there. Right there. Dennis Shane really did have that down there.
Still excited.
Why should we still be excited about Too Human?
Because it's good, and I've played it, and there's nothing else like it on the console.
And what about it is good?
The story, the graphics, the gameplay.
Not gonna get repetitive. Not gonna be a disappointment. Not gonna.
I mean, I think the single player could end up being a disappointment, but I think the multiplayer is gonna be really fun.
Not gonna be a brute force. Because I have to tell you, like for some reason,
it has the stench of brute force about it.
To me, for some reason, I have no rational explanation for why, other than I see Too Human and I think, wow, this is the 360's brute force.
That's rough.
That is rough. I'm sorry, but I just
You are the only person I've met that feels that strongly about it.
Matt Leone also thinks it's
really.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, I know people that aren't impressed, and I know people but most people I know that have seen it are sort of like, yeah, it could be all right.
Which is cool because nothing will do me better than to have a chance to sit down with Too Human and play it and be wowed and go, wow, you know what, this is freaking incredible. I'm so glad it's good. Because that's cool, right? Where does that leave games that there's also some lurking games that are coming around, such as Battlefield Bad Company or Mercenaries 2.
I think Bad Company is going to be awesome.
Okay.
I don't know what it's going to sell.
I don't think it's on many people's radar, actually.
It isn't on many people's radar.
It looks really cool. It's like going back to what they were doing with Red Faction and kind of modernizing it. And
when does that come out? Spring?
It's soon, right? It's like Q2.
It's supposed to be Q2. I don't know if it'll actually make it. When we talk about stuff sliding, I think we talk about games like Bad Company and Mercenaries 2. Those are the sort of games I expect to see over the summer.
That could potentially be another game changer in the way that particularly multiplayer is handled, because now you run behind a building and the guy with the rocket launcher can just blow the building up, and that whole notion of like. It's another thing, the way that Crysis did this, eliminating immovable objects in a game world. You know, it's like everything in Crysis like shatters and splinters. Where in Bad Company, anything that should be able to explode does.
See, I have a problem. I think these games are just too similar. And like Mercenaries 2, I see Just Cause 2 today. They look like the same game to me. Like I think like open world jungle games with dudes with like rocket launchers. Like how many of those do you need?
I have a prediction for a flop. That wobbly ground thing LucasArts is doing.
You're a day late, $1 short on that prediction.
Planet Moon,
Fracture.
Yeah,
Fracture.
Yeah,
I forgot about that game.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have my big prediction. Like the flop genre of 2006 is RTSs on 360. There's like 10 of them. And I don't give a fuck. and I see Supreme Commander, and I'm like, that game looked good on PC. What happened?
Well, we kind of have EA to blame for this, right? Because of you,
John, and you supporting Lord of the Rings on 360.
And Shu.
Oh.
And Shu is all over that
blame
shit.
Shu more than you blame me.
Yeah, no doubt.
But like, there's like seriously 10. There are 10 RTSs.
I was very surprised to learn of Supreme Commander moving to 360.
Have you seen the graphics?
It's ugly. It's ugly. And you got World in Conflict coming after that, that World in Conflict might work out, but
I mean, if any of these, Halo Wars is going to be the one that sells, right? Right? It looks like Halo.
Yeah. It looks like Halo, right? And we're still counting on, again, how many times do I have to make this argument? Ensemble, who's made a bunch of Age of Empire games that are all very similar, suddenly has the key to how strategy games on console controls work. Right. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
So, as the big RTS fan, do you also think that this genre is going to be oversaturated and not that popular in this year on console?
On console, I think it's a disaster on console. I don't think that the answer. I think that the only strategy game that I have genuinely enjoyed on a console, Herzog Zwei. I'm very curious to see which of the two handhelds is the first to incorporate a video or camera capability. Because I think that's going to be huge.
They both have cameras as add-ons.
As add-ons. I mean, not as an add-on. I mean, as an integrated part of the package.
So one of my predictions for this year is that Home by the end of the year is going to have completely changed the game as far as live is concerned and all of that stuff.
I wouldn't bring up Home around this one over here.
I know.
Seriously?
I know that you think it's crap, but I think it's got a lot of potential, and I think when you think about.
I think you spent too many nights at home by yourself.
Look who's talking. But I think
you know my wife.
I think if you look at Xbox Live, it's basically the social piece is for playing games, whereas what Home is doing is it's going to create a social world and a social network, and gaming is part of it. And I think that's what's really interesting about it. And I think when you look at the way the wider world is going with Facebook and so on, and who knows what will be the big social network by the end of the year. I mean, it'll probably still be Facebook, but it just seems to me that Sony's on the right track with they've got a Blu-ray player that plays movies. They're going to be surf the web by the end of the year properly on the PS3 in a decent way, and you're going to be you'll be in home and you're going to have your environment that you go to, and it's not going to be necessarily about the games. It's going to be about community, and that's different. That's a new thing, and I think they're going to pull it off.
If he shaved his head, it would totally work, wouldn't it?
You're saying he's like Phil?
You're saying I'm Phil Harrison.
Well, I think the point is that
honestly, I think that could be that by the end of the year. I think Home is going to have completely changed the perception.
Every time they add functionality to Xbox Live, it becomes more and more intimidating to the people that they're desperately trying to attract, and that is
more blades,
non-gamers.
More blades, more levels, more things to click on. Like Home makes it organic, and it says this is an environment, this is a place for you to go as a gamer, and I think that's a different world, and it really is about Sony kind of occupying this space between the Wii on the one end, which is sort of the toy, and then sort of the more hardcore gaming machine, all about games, which is the 360 on the other end. And I think they have the best of both worlds, and ultimately, that's why I think that the PS3 is ultimately, by the way, going to win.
Yeah, we've had the Home discussion many times, and every time I get in an argument with somebody about Home, it's always a hardcore gamer who enjoys Xbox Live, and it's just not what they want. It's anathema. It's like, I don't want to do these things. That is not what I want. It's not for you. And you don't have to do it. And my sister, who got a PS3 for Christmas, she was like, well, what's this Home thing? Because she saw the trailer, and I was explaining it to her, and it was like the coolest thing to her. She's so excited about it.
So I can walk to the movie theater?
Yeah, it's like you can watch the trailers, you could meet up with friends, you can go to your room and show the pictures, play your music. That was so cool to her.
You can't look at the widespread appeal of something like World of Warcraft, which has appealed to many women, girls, like people just hanging out in guilds and things like that. You can't look at that and say that's a huge success, and then look at Home and go, that's going to be crap. They're the same thing.
At the beginning.
Also, it's free.
It's free.
Also, it's free.
Right.
You don't have to pay anything.
But you know what? Nothing in it will be.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah.
You get no argument from me on that. Here's the beginning part, though, is that when you go to play World of Warcraft, you play it on a PC that's already running an operating system that already has a baseline of functionality. And my argument, as I made in my blogs I've been talking about this stuff, is that I want PSN to deliver on the core functionality first. And then if you want to do Home, do Home.
I think they're a little...
That's great.
They've made a mistake in tying it all together, and all the delays with Home, it's very troubling, it's frustrating. But, at the same time, you don't want a really unfinished Home to come out and seem unimpressive.
But you know what? That's kind of the nature that what they are so ambitious with Home that whenever Home releases, it's not going to come out automatically.
No, it's going to. You know what? It's not going to be very good when it launches. And I think everyone's prepared for that.
Right. And that's cool. I'm fine with that.
But if it's going to become this kind of ultimately a sort of a social network, then it's going to start off crap, because all social networks suck when they launch because there's nobody on them and no one gets it.
But you know what? When it comes out, we'll think it's crap, but Shane's sister will still think it's cool.
Right. That's true.
Because you have mates on there, and they'll have a place, and they'll be decorating it, and it'll be...
and they will help shape what it becomes.
Well, I think for the hardcore people, as long as Home and Little Big Planet happen within 6 months of each other, I think that's the magic combination.
Well, you know what's going to happen is that it's going to get... The PS3 is going to get a soul. There's going to be a soul there, which is what Microsoft has always struggled with. It struggled with the Xbox.
They have no soul.
Honestly, right.
Microsoft has no soul.
It's clinical, it's technical, it's about gaming.
Home does kind of... Home and Little Big Planet,
You're going to become emotional. You're going to become an emotional attachment to what you do with the PS3, which you won't have with your 360.
Well, you brought up Little Big Planet, so let's
we all love.
Let's pin a date on that.
I think that
beta or final?
Beta at GDC, which would be February, which I know is a lot to ask, but that'd be huge if they can have that.
Do you think they'll link it to Home at all?
I think it's going to be.
So, but I mean,
do
you think they'll just want to kind of keep it under wraps until they're ready to get the whole thing going
Open
together?
Home Beta and Little Big Planet Beta happen the same day, I think that'd be a smart move.
They won't. They won't. I'm just saying. I mean, look, I've been wrong about so many things.
Prediction.
I'm going the other direction because I've been so wrong about so much other stuff. Sony's track record is that these things don't go together necessarily. Is that they keep, that they do.
Do you think the products are connected in some way? Do you think that could be the source of the delay?
Yeah, I'm wondering whether there'll be some sort of connection between the two, because it would
possibly.
We're already thinking about them in the same sort of breath, but speaking about them.
I'm curious. Does anyone think that Microsoft has a response to PSN this year, to Home, to Little Big Planet, to the community stuff?
Honestly, no.
I don't think they think it's that important right now. I think
they have a... Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got a steady curve of growth, and I think they're comfortable, and I think it's going to actually be a real problem for them because it's not about, if you think about 2008 is really being about 2009, which will be the peak of this console cycle, like Christmas 2009, when you look at where everyone's going to be by then,
right.
I think what's going to happen is that Microsoft's going to be caught napping on this front.
The question is, did Xbox 360 peak the day Halo 3 came out?
The answer is yes.
Garnet said it, not me.
The answer is yes, because you know my theory, and so now I'll walk out on this bridge because I haven't said it yet, but I've talked about this subject many, many times. And before the end of 2008, Microsoft will at least preliminarily unveil what the next Xbox will be.
Well, I think I brought this up when OXS.
Yes.
In 2008.
Before the end of 2008, they will do that.
I think
they're still losing how much on the fucking thing?
I think
they have so much. They have more money than God.
Garnet, I don't think we're going to see it, but I think you're going to start hearing more.
Hearing
more rumblings about it.
Even if
I think Halo 4 is for the next Xbox.
I think so too. Yeah. And I think if they don't, even if they don't officially unveil it, that developers will already have had on the down low. Hey, here's what the specs are going to be. Here's what. You have to target for.
What about Xbox 360 Ultimate, which we might know about by next week's show, if those rumors are to be believed?
Yeah, well, that's what we need to talk about. Is what we mean by the next console these days, because we mentioned iterating earlier. I mean, John, you talked about that. So. Is that what we're really talking about? We're not really talking about the more conventional kind of the next Xbox. What we might be talking about is an upgrade to the current one.
Two things. I think that before the end of this year, developers will be well aware of what the next significant
Xbox 3 will be, and before the end of the year, we'll definitely be talking about. I mean, there are going to be hardware iterations. I mean,
I don't think they'll have any interest.
Really?
Yeah, I think this year. I think it will be all about raking in the cash on the 360.
Because I think. To counter,
I think they'll know what it is.
Counter what you said about Halo peaking. Halo peaked with the first audience with Halo 3, with a hardcore and the next tier down.
Yeah.
The challenge for them now is they're done with that group. Halo was the pinnacle for them.
Saturation.
Absolutely.
Saturation. Yeah. But now they need to do what Nintendo is doing, and that is going like the hardcore will make a few games sell over 1 million copies. The next audience that they need to go after will make a lot of games sell over 1 million copies.
Okay, so what fills the Halo void?
Gears of War 2.
You know what? I don't buy that.
That's the problem. A multitude of really good games, but that are not Halo, and that's going to be their problem. Well, I mean,
But the third-party situation...
It doesn't need to fill that void,
The third-party situation is so good now across both.
Exactly.
It really has caught up. Like PS3 and 360, giant list of great third-party games in 2008. Well, that's great. And everyone agreed, Nintendo and Sony, also a lot of great first-party games. What does Microsoft have?
But isn't saying what's going to fill the Halo void like saying what's going to fill the Star Wars void after Return of the Jedi came out? We waited 20 years for it. It's kind of done, right? Isn't it time for something new? There were a lot of movies after Star Wars.
Well, there's got to be something. There will be something different, but you also have to look at what the 360 necessarily needs to continue to be a success, and it's not necessarily another 8 million selling game or another 7 million selling game. It's 22 million or 3 million selling games, and that's what it will do. And I think that's it'll do just fine.
So PS3 is going to be. 360 is going to be successful in 2008.
Oh, yes.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to continue its curve up, but it's going to be a predictable curve, whereas I think the PS3 is going to be much more it's going to be much fits and starts with big leaps, and by the end of the year, I think it'll be...
Because what's happened is, really because of the really slow start to the PS3, is that it is now on a completely different...
Trajectory.
Completely different trajectory.
And completely different cycle to the other two consoles. In that it's starting to climb as the other two were starting to be like, what's next for these guys? And the PS3 hasn't hit its stride yet.
Right, like Uncharted is kind of like the first game that everyone agrees is good and stuff. It's weird that it's just happening now, a year and a month into it. But yeah, we haven't. Metal Gear's not out. Final Fantasy isn't out. Like.
No, to me, I mean, I very much agree with you in that I think that Microsoft needs to release a very, very, very refined piece of 360 hardware to be competitive with PS3 at this point, because the PS3, even when I look at them just sitting in my house, just sitting there looking at the entertainment center, I think, wow, that box is a lot more sophisticated piece of hardware than that box.
I think Microsoft and Sony both need to figure out their SKUs and pare down, simplify, make it very easy and simple for consumers.
This is it.
We all agree.
This is the one you want.
I think we all agree.
But what I think is also interesting is that if you look at the 360, I don't see this 360 being able to grow and eat the lunch of either two of the other consoles. Whereas I do see the PS3 being able to eat some of the lunch of the Wii eventually.
Really?
Well, because I think if it gets this Soul and it gets the Home, Little Big Planet, things like that, I think if these games start to come along and they're not averse to putting interesting peripherals, attaching those either to the PS3 to their systems, to Sony to their systems, I think they can expand into that market where it's sort of more family and kids much more easily than I see the 360. I don't see the 360 being able to go that way.
Every time Microsoft has tried with 360, with Viva Pinata or with Scene It, they're just copying things and like stabs in the dark, and like it doesn't seem very well researched, and it just comes off
right. It's a mismatch.
Hollow.
It's a complete mismatch.
PC going to go the way of Specky?
Specky?
Oh, well, you know what the problem is there is piracy is fucking ridiculous. I mean,
is that the problem?
Look at Crysis. I was talking to the guys on Games for Windows about this. I was like, well, how did Crysis do?
80,000 copies.
Yeah, how did Crysis do? And they went, it was a fucking disaster. It's a complete dog. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. It's getting, 9s out of 10 everywhere. What's going on? And they're like, yeah, we'll go on BitTorrent, mate. There's like 5,000 a day being downloaded.
Really, if multiplayer game is where it's at, if we're going to play online, the very sophisticated games potentially coming from them in Left 4 Dead and The Crossing. But are they going to work?
The Crossing?
The Crossing is a very cool game.
These are both Valve, right?
I know about The Crossing because it was on the cover of GFW.
Okay, so...
But I also know that issue didn't sell very well. And I don't think I'll be giving too much away to our competitors at PC Gamer.
Are those both Valve games?
Both potentially distributed through Steam, yeah, absolutely.
I think they have hardcore cachet, but again, like you're speaking to like the elite hacksaw nerds, and
it's the stuff that's going to keep games going on the PC is going to be
StarCraft 2.
StarCraft 2 is going to do very well
on the list.
But beyond that, I think people are just done trying to keep up with hardware.
Well, yeah. Let me move.
It really is the Habos and the Club Penguins and all the all that kind of shit where it's just something like 90% of young teenage kids have played a game online already.
Right.
So they are prepped and ready to play online and to play that kind of thing, but they're not playing
when you can get
hardcore games.
You can get an Xbox,
hardcore single-player gaming.
When you can get an Xbox 360 or a PS3 for $300, why spend $400 for a video card? Seriously.
Exactly.
So let me ask you two questions about StarCraft 2. First of all, this year or next year? 08 or 09?
I think it's 08.
08. I think
just about 08.
I agree. When you look at what was coming out of the mouths of people from Activision about the need to have something huge every year and that whole sort of milking the shit out of things quote that we got from them, I think the pressure is on now that Blizzard, your name is in the name of the company now. Yeah. You should put something out this year, huh?
I'm gonna make a prediction about Active Blizzard. Which is that no change. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I heard.
Is it meant fuck all and dick all to go with it, basically?
So the second part of StarCraft is... Oh, go ahead.
Because Blizzard is the key, and it's what Blizzard wants to do that's going to...
And they don't change.
No, Blizzard don't change. They had their plan a year ago. There's no way Activision's going to change their
Well, exactly.
minds.
There'll be another Guitar Hero. There'll be another Tony Hawk.
There's actually 4 more Guitar Heroes.
4 more Guitar Heroes.
Awesome.
Right.
Okay, so then here's the question then about StarCraft is, will it fall prey to the EverQuest 2 separation, or will it actually bring people over from StarCraft to StarCraft 2?
Maybe. But I think
that's very committal of you.
I think that in the West it'll do well.
Yes, but where it matters, which is where they sell most of them in South Korea.
I think it depends. I mean, I don't think you can make that call until you can sit down with it and say how much they've changed it, because that whole competitive Korean StarCraft thing,
with the celebrities and stuff.
If they've changed the keystrokes and the shortcuts and the way that these guys just are sort of like mind melded to the game, if they've changed that too much, they won't take to it.
Right? I don't think they would do that for that very reason. That's a huge market.
So will it still be appealing in the West?
It looks kind of traditional.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look that...
Honestly, doesn't it really need to be a console game, which goes to your previous comment that RTSs are played out on consoles, that they're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
There you go. And so the two things that I have remaining that I'd like to throw out there is I have some tertiary titles.
I have some things I forgot about along the way. I want to throw out here right here.
Okay.
Will Microsoft still be supporting Xbox 360 in Japan in December 2008?
With what?
Will it still be in stores?
Sure, it'll still be in stores.
Will they still be actively pursuing exclusive games from Japanese developers.
Well, let's go back to the Xbox, because this is directly tied in with Xbox Ultimate. So the rumor with Xbox Ultimate is that it's a next one up from the Elite with a giant hard drive,
320
gig hard drive, because it's an HD DVR that's hooked in with a service.
Right.
And then the knock-on from that is that there's a partnership with Toshiba in Japan where they're melding Toshiba set-top boxes with Xbox 360 as an attempt to get penetration into households.
So it's Trojan horse.
It's a Trojan horse. Get this fucking chipset and this game player into a box that people actually want, so that then there's another excuse to try and sell games to them.
Right.
If they do that, then it will continue beyond this year. If they don't do that, I think you're right. It's over.
The fact that Lost Odyssey, like the Final Fantasy killer from Mistwalker, made by the guy who made Final Fantasy, sold fewer copies in Japan than Halo 3 is telling.
How many copies did it sell?
Very telling.
Lost Odyssey? Around 80,000.
Well, when I come back from CES next week, and you're going to CES as well, I don't know when you'll be on the show again, but when we talk about CES, I mean, one of the things is obviously going to be big is convergence. Again, convergence, set-top boxes sort of thing. We just had the announcement today, which will be yesterday when you're listening to this, about Netflix's new device that's in partnership with LG. Where did you see about this?
Yeah.
No more red envelopes. That's what
No more red envelopes. There's going to be a device that streams movies from your Netflix account to your home set-top box. So this is going to be a big issue. But you know what? It didn't materialize.
Aren't they talking about building it into the TVs so that it's just a...
And ultimately, aren't they going to try and license
TV?
that technology into absolutely every piece of hardware they can get their hands on?
You would think.
Like an Xbox, perhaps?
You would think. But remember last year we sat there in the keynote and listened to Bill talk about how the Xbox was going to be this IPTV portal. We watched this entire 30-minute presentation about how great IPTV through the 360 was. None of it.
Well, I think the problem there was that IPTV just hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. So they are dependent on other technologies coming along that haven't materialized alongside.
What's weird about this Ultimate is that SKU sounds amazing. It also has HD DVD allegedly in it, right?
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. So you're making this amazing system. At the same time, they're dedicated to the arcade pack, the stripped down, bare bones thing. And having both those things on the market, it's just such a gulf between the high end and low end.
So when people that aren't gamers come to you and they say, my son, whatever relative, wants an Xbox 360, which one do you tell them to buy? That's the one I always tell them as well.
I consider Premium the only good deal.
I think the rest $350, you get a hard drive, it does everything you were ever going to want it to do.
Yeah, the rest of them I consider bad deals, especially the Halo one.
So you know what happened over Christmas is that I wanted to buy an HD DVD player, primarily because all of the Bourne movies are
because they're only on
and I think Matrix 2, which I also
it's coming to
get.
Blu-ray next.
Although Matrix they're really sneaky about because it's only available in a pack of 3 because they know you won't buy the other 2 shitty movies.
Right.
So anyway, obviously I've got my 360 at home and I thought about buying the HD DVD player.
You should. It's the cheapest alternative.
It's the cheapest alternative, but what's the problem? If my fucking 360 dies, my HD DVD player dies with it.
Right.
And I was like, no, fuck it. I'd rather pay more money and get something that's separate from my 360 because I don't trust this hardware.
Well, that was one of your points on your blog, is the fact that they still have this huge problem.
They need to get out front of it. They really need to get out front of it.
Will they ever?
That's up to them.
Is it congenital design flaw with the system? I mean,
it was a congenital design flaw, which they've mostly remedied. I mean, not to get too technical, but apparently there was a brace system underneath the motherboard. There was like an X brace that caused warping, and that's why the chips were popping, and that's why they're having so many red ring problems. And they've eliminated that, but they haven't talked about. Here's the thing: is they don't want to, for legal reasons, they don't want to own up to too much of it. They don't want to expose themselves to too much liability. So now that they've distanced themselves from the events,
but that's a liability in itself.
What's that?
Well, the $1 billion write-off?
Not coming out and just saying.
Well, it's a different sort of liability.
Right.
It's not a courtroom liability.
Because people are still afraid to buy them. I think.
Yes,
people
they are.
Still afraid to buy them.
Look no longer. I mean, this is what I said. Look at all of the different multi-page forum posts about here's how you determine if you're buying a Falcon system, which is Falcon is the latest revision that has no X bracing.
Well, and just recently in the official Xbox magazine, there was a multi-page story about this issue, about Red Ring of Death. Still, what's being done about it, the true, and the stigma. We really can't even know what the stigma of this is. What people remember Xbox.
What's it costing them? We don't even know.
We know it cost them $1 billion.
No, I mean, what's it costing them in the number of consoles they're not selling because people are wary of this issue or they're.
But the only way to break that stigma is to completely push reset again and move on to Xbox 3.
I don't know about Xbox 3. They
could redesign it.
Totally different form factor. Stop doing the same box, a different color.
Possibly have Toshiba make your hardware for you.
Or license your hardware and let other people make it. Nuon.
So we've strayed a long way from making predictions.
Xbox Nuon.
Oh, God.
So let's get back to predictions. We haven't really made that many, honestly.
This is
okay.
True.
You did the. You know what? That's ironic. You did this last year too.
That we haven't made many predictions. So we've said that GTA we think probably in the summer. Yeah.
Yes.
StarCraft in 2008.
Oh no! Wait. I think GTA 04.
Garnet thinks
Christmas.
that GTA will be holiday.
Christmas.
Okay, well, does anybody think that 360 or PS3 will outsell Wii any month this year?
No.
Nope.
No. Okay.
No.
But is 2008 the last year that'll happen with Wii?
Will the Wii bubble burst?
Is it something that burns twice as brightly, half as long, essentially?
I
think it might be.
As the shit shovels up on the shelves, like as the garbage continues to overflow, as you search for the one good Nintendo game.
Ninja Bread Man's only $20 in Best Buy now.
Good.
Is it so much even a matter of it doing that so much as the fact that it'll just have sold so many that so many people will have it that it'll start to naturally slow?
Yeah, I mean, it will reach critical mass eventually, right?
I mean,
but if it's like the iPod, I mean that. With the iPod, that took a while.
Well, so part of the deal about the iPod, though, is keep in mind that they iterate very often and bring you out the next iPod that you have to have.
But Wii Sports will still be fun in 5 years. It really will.
Yeah.
All right. What else? What should we be predicting on?
Anything non-game specific?
What about this? What about do we think EA will buy Ubisoft or Rockstar in 2008?
I've heard no on both recently. I've heard that like Ubisoft is like flush with money now after Assassin's Creed,
right.
And they're feeling their oats again. They're like, we can fight it.
They can fight them off.
They can fight them off. And the Rockstar thing, I hear that Rockstar's deal with Take-Two expires.
Right.
And
so what would you?
Why
would
you want to buy Take-Two if you're not going to get Rockstar?
The point would be then they could go shop themselves
to whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about EA buying Take-Two and getting rid of the 2K Sports problem?
That could get ugly legally, I think.
Right, well, that would be the one. That would be the only stopper, right?
Yeah.
That would be the only stopper because the EA is getting to a point where they could legitimately.
I think we're going to see. I mean, we are definitely seeing more and more companies. I mean, like there was the rumor this week about Midway and Eidos merging, and
that would be a good move.
I mean, SCI is still very much trying to sell Eidos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And shovel all that stuff into one place.
Yeah, I think that's a good move actually.
Eidos and Midway could be very good marriage.
Yeah. I think we'll see more and more of that. I mean, Ubi's in that sort of weird tier. I mean, like after the things that EA you would think is terrified of is that next tier down, which is the Activisions and the Vivendis and the THQs and the Ubis starting to merge.
Activision is now Vivendi.
Vivendi, yeah. Right? But you got to think
they're bigger. They're bigger than EA.
They're bigger than EA.
So the next threat has got to be THQ and Ubisoft doing something together.
That would also
because
be a
then
threat.
your big three is EA, Vivendi,
all this
and whatever that is.
But like all this consolidation is bad.
Oh yeah, no disagreement.
It's bad.
Trying to handle sex and relationships in games is the next big, because everything's violent, I mean, just look at not everything's violent, but the violence is they've experimented with everything. I mean, you look at something like Clive Barker's Jericho, and it's like
nothing shocking.
Nothing is shocking in violence.
Whereas like sex, it's still like when Bully kissed a dude,
right.
He was on the news.
There's got to be more things exploring sexuality and sex, and this is the year it's going to happen. And the thing that's going to kick it off is GTA. There's going to be something with that dude and a girl or a guy or whatever that's handled in a different way.
If there was like a realistic rape or something, like that, I don't
know if they'll do that.
I'm just saying.
But they experimented with boys kissing in Bully.
Right.
I think that was them dipping their toe in the water into what can we try that's not violence, that's not porn, that really is in M territory that is going to make people talk about this thing.
What came to mind for me was Leaving Las Vegas, where
the film.
Oh, right.
Just because of the if you pulled out the sexual tension from that movie, it would be flat. Mm-hmm. It would just be, okay, it's the guy's good drunk, he's going to kill himself or whatever. But when you added that element to it, and her being a prostitute, and that whole dynamic, it became a sit on the edge of your chair the first time you watch it, compelling thing. I don't think games can achieve it right now, but is that sort of where you're thinking of that sort of development down that line?
Treating sex in a non-childish, because anything that has dabbled in sex, it's either been so minor that you're like, wait, that was it,
or it's fucking hot coffee bullshit,
or it's hot coffee, or it's the bullshit in God of War, which frankly was just ridiculous.
Well, it's really ridiculous.
But it's not sex for titillation, but sex as a genuine, it's a driving force for everybody in some fashion. When you get to it, when you get to the age that M-rated games are aimed at, everyone's trying to get laid, and nobody lives in a porno.
Someone's going to tell us that we should play the European version of The Witcher.
I've not seen that.
That would be Jeff Green would tell us that. Yeah.
Isn't The Witcher like everyone wants to shag him?
Yeah.
But I think it is a frontier that gaming has been terrified of tackling.
Sure.
Because they will get... And the ESRB have got to be dreading this, but it's coming.
So it has to be. It has to be coming.
But the big mistake...
Oh, Simon, you cheeky boy.
But the big mistake is going to be if the
He knew what he was saying.
If the Gamecock attitude is where it breaks, then it's doomed. It's got to be someone that handles it.
See, I see a better thing would be like if Heavy Rain attempted to like you're having these real relationships with people and having conversations and shit. Like if someone like that tried it, they could maybe really push the frontier.
Or the Quantic Dream guys, if they're that kind of thing. Like, let's really explore. Like Mass Effect, when it got. I mean, you didn't see this, but if you really were trying to work the conversation system so you would end up in the relationship with the girl, you started to play those scenes slightly differently, and you started to think, how would I, all right, what am I really trying to do here, and how am I going to take it? But it was
how do I get in her pants?
Right, it was super limited though into what it was doing. It didn't afford you the conversational freedom or the emotional. You couldn't kind of play with the character's emotions, and I think someone's going to try that this year, and someone at some point has got to get it right. And I think this will be the year that we start to see it.
I'd agree with that.
I hope so.
Anybody else have a parting shot?
I think we're done with limited editions that cost over $100. I'm just putting that out there.
Really?
After seeing the fallout of the Halo one, it's like $50 in lots of places.
There's certainly plenty of them floating around, aren't there?
I mean, I think we're still going to get a lot of the $69.99 boxes.
We know that GTA has an $80 box. We know that Devil May Cry has an $80 box. I think $80 boxes are probably here to stay, but $130 boxes are gone, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon?
Nothing. Good.
Nothing else from your notes? You sure?
My notes?
Well, you had notes, right?
They were.
You brought notes. I know you brought notes.
Well, we were just talking about games we were looking forward to next year. I think we talked about that already. But
I feel like we didn't really talk about handhelds much.
Well, PSP, there are two really huge releases in March, which are Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, and God of War, and they're the two biggest releases that have ever come out on PSP.
And they're both awesome.
And they're both awesome, but
they're both PSP.
So this will be the test to see. Like the whole joke is that nobody buys PSP games; they're just pirating them or downloading movies, listening to music, whatever. So if these games don't sell, then
it's done.
It's done.
And PSP 2.
And PSP 2 has a new delivery scheme of some sort.
And it's probably a phone.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the litmus test. So watch and find out.
And Garnet will be right. Advanced Wars, though, for a DS is going to be a hit. Absolutely, right?
It won't sell.
Come on.
It won't sell as well as those two.
You don't think
Advance Wars?
Not as well as Final Fantasy VII.
Isn't the Advance Wars all dark?
It's all dark and serious,
grungy and goth.
It comes out in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. But maybe just as a gamer. Maybe as a gamer at heart. That's the reason I'm excited.
All right, final prediction. Biggest game of the year, 2008.
Sales or
Grand Theft Auto. I'll say it. Grand Theft Auto. You're welcome to agree.
I think it's Grand Theft Auto as well, but I think that Smash Brothers is going to do really, really well.
It will.
Simon?
Yeah, I think Grand Theft Auto. It's got to be. I know you think Wii Fit.
I think Wii Fit's going to be huge, but GTA would be my safety choice.
Okay. And much like the Microsoft E307 press conference, let the other cat out of the bag we didn't talk about. Resident Evil 5.
I wish.
Anyone?
I want it to come out. I want to believe that it could come out in like December of 2008, but I don't. I'm not gonna.
When's Street Fighter out?
It won't be this year.
When is Street Fighter out?
09.
I think it's 09.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Street Fighter's 09.
Which is sort of amazing because
that strikes me as
I know.
very bad.
It's not
for Capcom.
You know
not
what?
if they
Wait
have
a minute,
Resident
though.
Evil this year.
Why should it be 09? It's not the world's most complicated game, surely.
It's just pretty looking graphics.
It's still really early when we played it. It's still incredibly early.
You played it though, right?
Yeah, we played it. It was incredibly early. I mean, it could be out by the end of the year, but I say give it time. Like, there's enough other fighters this year. There's Soul Calibur.
What do you say about RE5?
I would love for it to come out this year.
Okay.
But I do not believe that it will.
And will it become a platform exclusive?
No.
Not at all.
I don't think so.
Okay. Simon?
I guess my one last comment, I guess, would be that we started by talking about what we were playing. What are we looking forward to the most? One game that you're personally looking forward to the most this year?
Can it be a tie? It's Metal Gear Solid 4 and Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet's a very good call. I don't have any argument with that. John?
Little Big Planet and I guess GTA. I mean, I'm a sucker for this franchise.
And the sex.
And the sex, which will be in it, obviously.
if I thought it was coming out this year, Alan Wake, but I'm not.
You're kidding, really?
No, I really am sold on that. I really think it's cool.
Well, I'm excited about it.
I'm really excited about it.
But until I see it like on a television with someone playing it, I don't really...
I think it's going to be colossally disappointing.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Yeah. I hope I'm right. I hope you're wrong, but
I just hope they get someone else to write it, not the person who wrote Max Payne.
But I'm gonna surprise you because I'm actually most hopeful for a PC game, Brothers in Arms: Hell's Highway, because the last time I played it, the Ubi days, it was really good.
That's really your most...
really? It was really good.
That's a really surprising one.
It was really
you must
good.
Really like World War II.
You know what? I don't actually. I'm so over World War II, but like,
Call of Duty 5. I hear it's gonna be awesome.
You know what? Whatever. They why are they going back to World War II? Don't even go beyond that.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I was just sitting there, I was playing it, and it's.
I mean, Brothers in Arms is a very
Brothers in Arms has always been a blast,
series.
and the combination of being in a first-person shooter and having.
But wasn't that game
really
supposed to be out in 07, and it wasn't on anyone top of his list, and suddenly it's more exciting to you than GTA and Metal Gear Solid and Little Big Planet and Resident Evil and Spore and all these games? All right. I'm just saying. I think you should reevaluate your priorities.
Alan Wake and Brothers in Arms. Wow.
Garnet likes to be the controversial one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Actually, it is. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a really cool game.
On that note, I'm taking back my vote, and I'm voting for my most excited game being the new rhythm action game from Nana Onsha, from Matsuda Matsa and Rodney Greenblatt.
All right. Anyway, enough. All right, so next week I'll be at CES. Actually, I land at the airport at like 2 o'clock on Thursday, and then I'm coming straight here, and we'll do a show Thursday afternoon for Friday. For next Friday,
I'll
have
some
CES.
exciting stuff to talk about. I know. Watch one up for some very exciting Soul Calibur 4 stuff next week.
And actually, even though I didn't get to before, I'll get to play Soul Calibur next week at CES because they're doing an event there as well.
You're not very good at it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I only beat you at it. Oh, oops.
Oops. I know. Here we go.
Oops.
I've missed it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What else? I'm going to be talking to Chris Taylor while I'm there. I know that much.
Is he the guy who made Supreme Commander? Or no,
yeah.
Yeah, he has some other games coming. Come on. Why do you slag him so much for Supreme Commander?
Because he's doing it on 360.
Yeah.
I think he just licensed that. I don't know.
Has he seen the Dungeon Siege movie? Ask him about the Dungeon Siege
Oh
movie.
my God.
Abort.
Anyway.
Yes.
Tend our wounds.
Well, so we won't have our cheeky Brits next week, though, probably, right? No.
I don't know. Simon, you going to come back on this next?
May do.
May do.
Mayhap.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see if we can get some GFW guys down here. Or something.
I wanted some Jeff Green.
They can defend some PC's honor.
Oh, you know what? My most look forward to game for this year is a PC game. In fact,
wow.
Well, it's probably going to be on 360 as well. But it's Mirror's Edge.
Oh, parkour.
Because I love the art style that I've seen so far, and I think those guys are really good. I think they're going to do a good job.
All right, so there you go. Boards.oneup.com. Until next week, for Shane, Simon, John.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you listening. Boards.oneup.com is our address. Till next week, we're out.